afternoon, and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Happy Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, know that all 3 hours is going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show if you like. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, thank you for watching. Enjoy the show. ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. Florida State has a new defensive coordinator amongst other coaches. But obviously, that's the big name. Let's begin with it. Let's make it happen. He comes to us from East Lansing, Michigan, by way of Michigan State. In fact, fine hire indeed. Good job, Willie. Harlan Barnett comes over to coach the defense for Florida State. And obviously, if you're familiar with Michigan State, you know he's done a good job there. If you don't know his career, if you don't know the connections, you need to know that. And I'll begin by telling you he's a Nick Saban guy. He coached with Nick, along with Jimbo Fisher at the time at LSU. And Willie Taggart reached out to him and brings him in. He played in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns, New England Patriots, Minnesota Vikings, has connections, of course, with Bill Belichick. So solid is the resume for Harlan Barnett as he comes to Tallahassee. And in addition to that, Alonzo Hampton going to join FSU football. He'll be here as a defensive backs coach / special teams. I think he's really kind of the special teams guy right now. So we'll see. Given the background of Harlan Barnett working as a former safety and working with defensive backs, in fact, all kinds of coaching clinics that he's produced and all that stuff is online. You can find his philosophy and what he does online. That is the beauty of this age of information, man, and access to it instantaneously. You can find out what somebody's about, what their philosophy is, their coaching strategies, their coaching clinics, all that stuff. It's all online, which is cool.
And what's really cool is you get this new defensive coordinator at a good price. If you
a little less than $1 million.
A little less than $1 million a year, which, again, you know, the general job, you go, well, good Lord, that's way too much money. No, but if you see what hires, and then the going rate has been for defensive coordinators in general in the last 3-4 weeks, they've been going upwards of $2 million, as much as $2.5 million for LSU to retain its current defensive coordinator.
Which is crazy.
But Jim Leavitt got 1.7 to stay at Oregon. 1.5 is not crazy anymore. You know, Will Muschamp, like I said earlier this week, just a few years ago, Will Muschamp was hired as Auburn's defensive coordinator after Florida fired him for $1 million a year, and people thought, where are we going? Well, we're only going up in terms of pay grade. However, this hire for Florida State, someone who has produced results, someone who has worked with names you've heard of and names you admire, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, D'Antonio, to name 3, and you get him for $900K a year. Not bad at all. And he's 51 years old, so he's right in the prime of his coaching career.
Yeah, you get a couple of spots, 2-3 spots left, 3 spots, I think, left in this coaching staff to still fill. You have now your defensive coordinator, the biggest name of that bunch, and Barnett. Of course, you already had hired your linebacker coach and Woody Pimpleton at running back, Lockett at tight end, Fry, the offensive line coach, which came out last night. You know, we mentioned on the air yesterday we thought that would happen. Your new OL coach comes from Michigan. He's a former Knoll. That, too, is an exciting hire. I think a lot of people are very excited about that. You look at the rest of this coaching staff, and obviously Odell stays on the defensive line. You bring in Hampton, as I just mentioned, as your special teams coach. Excuse me. Frog in the throat here. You may have to whistle.
Well, I can tell jokes, too. You know what a good joke is?
What?
Well, I could say, Miami's finished to its regular season.
You're just going to do that?
It's postseason in college football this season.
Hopefully I'll try to breathe. We won't have to endure you making jokes up on the fly. That's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one, though.
No, not on the fly. That's always fun.
Well, I was going to say Jimbo's defensive coordinator hire, but he actually made a good one.
We just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real good one.
Yeah.
Bringing your boy over from Notre Dame.
Elko.
So, yeah, it's a good hire after getting told no at LSU there. So, anyhow, nonetheless, Florida State is putting the pieces together now, and that staff will be in place in time for the big recruiting push that will take place beginning, next week, the reopening of that process, if you will, for the February signings. Also, I would say that it's going to be interesting. We'll probably sit here and do it today on the show and try to keep you updated. The hullabaloo surrounding Ron Dugans. I think, obviously, Willie reached out to Ron, wanted Ron to come back home. get back to Tallahassee, coach wide receivers here. Ron Dugans obviously interested, utilize the opportunity with a little bit of leverage to go back to Miami and say, hey, Florida State's really making a push for me. I'm going to need more money. Miami likes Ron Dugans, thinks he's doing a very good job, and they ponied up that money allegedly. We don't know for sure the details of that. And now he's kind of come back to Florida State saying, do you want to match? Word on the street is that levels of frustration are beginning to grow, at least from Willie Taggart's side and the administration side. So we'll see if Florida State decides to move on from Ron Dugans and go a different direction. Listen, or if, in fact, they make it happen.
It's supposed to be a homecoming, right? So it's a no-brainer homecoming kind of angle here, but you're still, at the end of the day, a wide receivers coach. So if you're a position coach and you're going to drag your feet for better than a week, you know, and Willie can bring in somebody like a Barnett for an interview, or Fry, however you pronounce his name.
Fry.
It is Fry. For an interview, and then you can close the deal, you know, and yet you've been here once or twice, depending upon the reports, and you still can't make your mind up. Well, I can't wait forever and a day for a wide receivers coach, even if this is home for you. I thought that might be, you know, a nugget enough, a carrot enough to come back here. Besides, we've worked together, you and I, if I'm speaking as Willie Taggart. So whatever, you know, just make a decision so we can make our moves and then do what we can for this last month of recruiting.
Well, and I think that's where they're at, by the way. If you're just, in terms of engaging in the speculation from what we're hearing, that's kind of what you just described is where they're at, which is this situation where Willie's kind of put it out there. Like, okay, well, this is the offer. Are you coming or not? And that's where we're at. We may know something by the end of the show today. I never begrudge somebody utilizing opportunity to leverage situations to their benefit and make more money if they can. At the same time, I concur with you. At some point, the offer's the offer, and we need an answer, and we're going to need it today by 4 o'clock.
Well, and certainly, too, man, if this is the profession that you choose, there's a lot of money in it, but your moment in the sun is short, so you got to command as many dollars as you possibly can in the short period of time that you're going to be working for this type of money. You know, you're not going to be into your 60s and 70s still earning these kinds of paychecks. So if it gets him an extra 50, 100, 150 grand a year, then good for him, and we'll beat his ass next year on the field. No big deal.
Yeah, I would like to see it just because I loved watching him play. I've had a chance to talk to Ron Dugans a couple times and really liked the guy a lot. And he was a good player, smart player, heady guy. Really kind of you think of when you say that name. There's some names that played on those teams in the '90s that were so good that you know when his name is mentioned, I instantly think Florida State, and I think a success, and I think a national championship. You know, that's what I think. So it'd be nice to see it, but it doesn't always work out that way. You know. I don't know what the gulf is, right? What the difference between the Miami offer is and what Florida State's offer is, because I think that is a big deal. Obviously, if the two things were equal, I would like to believe Ron Dugans coming back home and not coaching for Miami.
Or responsibilities. I mean, again, you are a receivers coach, but if you're working under Mark Richt in a more pro-style offense, then you're going to be developing receivers that, you know, have to do more things pre-snap and make reads. You know, again, this is lethal simplicity here. That's what we've traded for. You know, we've gone from the ultra-complicated pre-snap reads or side adjusts after the ball is snapped to, you know, you're only responsible for a couple of things here. One of them is make the read that you need to make, block if you need to block, and then if we get the ball to you, make plays in space. That's what we're doing here. So maybe it's something along those lines that Mark Richt is pitching. I do believe that he has his daughter either goes there or you know, they're kind of the family likes it down in Miami. So
without
whatever
question,
it is, man,
there would be a lot of things. I mean, that is a big thing. If you're happy and your family's happy and their pull in this conversation is such that you just can't bring yourself to break that up, well, I understand. You know, it happens that way. I mean, we all have, you know, friends and families and people that would care about us and we care about deeply, and those are the decisions. I'd just like to see him come back. Don't know if it's going to happen. We'll keep you updated. We do know that Florida State has moved on now and brought in what I think is a quality defensive coach in Harlan Barnett. That's exciting because one of the things I'll tell you is I like the way Michigan State has been able to play against spread teams whose quarterbacks are integral parts of the offense. See the way Michigan State plays against Ohio State.
Exactly. Yeah. The first thing you think of is these Ohio State either upsets outright or games where they play them really tough over the last 2 or 3 seasons. And obviously, Barnett was elevated from the defensive backs position coach to co-defensive coordinator, where he's doing a little bit more hands-on in terms of installing. So, the hire is good, but we go through this process every time that there's new coaches. It's, okay, do I know the guy's name or not? If I know his name, it's a good hire. If I don't like the hire. So that's the first part of it.
Yeah.
The second part is, the press conference, he said all the right things. Well, it's an introductory press conference. It's hard to lose those. Then it's, what does it look like in spring? Oh, that looks pretty good in spring. Well, you know what? Come to think of it, it's only spring ball. We'll see how he does against real competition in the fall. And then we see it in the fall. But we're going to go through the ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys of that process all together, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it because that's the whole point, right? We're all energized again. There's a new staff, a whole lot of new eyeballs looking at all of these athletes. Yeah,
for me, it's about getting to the spring. I care about the staff. I've wanted to know the names. I knew he'd hire a good staff. I had faith in that. Figured this was a destination job for a lot of people, so he'd have a good pick. He did, and the staff looks like it's coming together just swimmingly. Now I'm anxious about getting to spring football and watching this thing put into play. Of course, this weekend, Florida State taking on Miami. We'll touch on that momentarily. The Noles travel to the Canes, both teams 12-2. Miami ranked in the top 15, Florida State ranked in the top 25. And, of course, it's wild card weekend. Preview the NFL games. Jon Gruden looks to be coming back to the National Football League with a contract that will wow you. I'll touch on that momentarily as well. And an interesting article today about the potential downturn of the New England Patriots. Not so much a hit piece as a look behind the curtain between egos and growing frustrations. Prominent players and the most prominent franchises in the New England Patriots. We can all hope that that's true. That's all I'll say. We'll see. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine.
How I love to superloop my car. Yes, sir.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Kraft Nissan service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Kraft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Kraft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Running low on the stuff you need?
time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like getting your resolutions on with a makeup bag makeover. Buy one, get one 25% off wellness beauty brands like Shea and Tom's. Or getting better for you Simply Balanced organic milk for $2.99. For a clean start, get $10 off when you spend $40 on must-haves like Tide and Bounty. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Pricing may vary, restrictions may apply.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa. Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 Wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the Fourth Quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
If your New Year's resolutions include being smarter with your money, come into the Home Depot this weekend to save big on appliance special buys, like a Samsung stainless steel gas range, right now just $648, with 5 burners, removable griddle, convection cooking, and almost unlimited possibilities. Now that's smart with savings that make you extra smart. Save on appliance special buys this weekend at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See store for details. Valid through January 24th.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I'm glad it's Friday. You guys can deal with me being an ass. I can't stop coughing. You guys probably sensed it in that first segment as I was struggling to get through the opener.
No doobies, man.
Not before the show. Jeff, what are you doing? No, man. No doobie involved here. It's something. You know what I did? Sometimes right before the show, I like to get the blood flowing, and I'll run out to the car to grab something. Literally run out to the car to grab something and run up the steps, or I'll run down the hall outside the building over to the grass area and then run back, because it is something I like to do is kind of get the blood flowing. Let's activate, right? Let's get ready to roll. And it's cold outside, which is great. I love it. I ran out there a moment ago right before the start of the show, but I thought I gave myself a nice little 5-minute window. I came back in. I was like, man, my chest, what the hell? And I'm not having a heart attack, but it felt like a frog was in my throat.
That would be good radio.
No. That would not be good radio. Me dying on the air is not good. Maybe for
not
other
dying.
people.
No, you just,
heart attacks.
We just find the right asprin, right? Because that's how the commercial goes. You take the correct aspirin, everything's okay. And then you have a sponsor for life. You going to cough again?
Well, that's the other thing. I think it's abundantly clear that while we did a great job in moving from a dilapidated old house in the All Saints district to a modern studio like the one we have here, we have forsaken the host, and that there is no cough button like there is in a standard studio setup. And I haven't, in the 5 years or so that we've been here or on the air at ESPN, really bitched about that. Other things, sure, but about that, no. I'm about to. We're about to get there. I shouldn't have to give you the signal every time.
Right.
We're on
now,
TV.
I got fast fingers,
You're quick like that.
Yeah.
Captain Wiggly Digits over there. I know you've got it. But what I'm telling you is that...
Yes. If I ever, for whatever reason, infamous, famous, or whatever, I don't want to be known to be at a hotel. It's Captain Wiggly Digits. Then they'll patch you through to room 703.
You like that? All right.
I'd like to speak to Captain Wiggly Digits, please.
I'm just giving
room
you a new
703.
Yeah,
you got it,
You
sir.
got it, sir. Yeah, and I'll be forever. I'll have a place in your heart. You're like, Jeff gave me that nickname out of the blue. Just came up with Captain Wiggly Digits, which I did. But here's the thing. Yeah, I don't have to point to Captain Wiggly Digits every time I'm about to cough. It's just ridiculous. Jon Gruden got a ridiculous contract. Don't try that at home, kids. 10 years, $100 million. I often talk about the kiss my ass on Main Street money coaches get when they're fired from a job and are paid to go away. A dream we all have. Let's admit it. Give me a lot of money to not work. Okay. I love agents that could form that kind of contract, right? I want that in my next contract. I don't know that ESPN will say yes to that, but I'm going to have my agent work out a deal that if I do something that upsets you enough at ESPN Radio to let me go, you got to pay me over the next 4 years handsomely to not work. I'm okay with that. Gruden, however, gets to do the kiss my ass on Main Street for the hiring process this time around. 10 years, $100 million. It would make sense that that money would have to be insane because Jon Gruden was already living a really good life. Uber wealthy, calling football games, working minimally for a large paycheck.
Oh, he's living a better life by most people's standards. It's just that Jon Gruden desperately wanted to get back into coaching, so much so we were laughing, when he was in Tampa being inducted to the Hall of Fame, the Tampa Bay Ring of Honor. And he said, I've got a playbook. It's just that nobody, wants to look at my playbook right now, but I keep one. And that's how much that guy wanted to get back into the game. And he's making,
now he's going to use it.
Well, yeah, so he's making 33% more than he was making, essentially. He's making 6.5, now he's making 10. Actually, fewer dollars if you think about the tax implications of working in the state of California, at least for the first year. But that's what it means to him, that he wants to work much, much more to be back in the game. Yet he had the cushiest gig in the world where he didn't have to work, but 10% is hard, 20% is hard, as an NFL coach does.
When you are trying to identify people who aren't going to be altered and their work ethic isn't going to change by money, usually you're talking about a player. Usually you're talking about a quarterback or a player that you're about to spend a lot of money on because you view them as the franchise. Whether that's a Jameis Winston at $20+ million over the life of the contract or anybody else, you say, well, these guys kind of grew up broke. Will the money change them once they reach that goal of getting paid? Or are they motivated by something much greater? And the money is a wonderful ancillary benefit to their hard work and successes, but that's just one less thing for them to worry about. It's not the thing that they were trying to reach and then now they have and they don't care about the rest. It's just something that they run into along the way that helps alleviate fear and stress. Jon Gruden's that guy. It's not the money. I mean, he's got a ton of money already. Right. It's the love and the passion for games.
Well, and I think, there's two sides to it. It's like once you have enough money, then you can do what you love. And the funny thing is he had all the leverage in the world in this particular situation where he could say, all right, if you really want me, then I want $10 million a year, all guaranteed for 10 years. I mean, if you really want to get me away from the Monday Night Football booth, knowing internally John did that he'd take, fewer dollars.
Probably take less, yeah.
Then they said, okay, well, what are you supposed to do now? The one thing I would say, though, aside from that is coaches in general, man. Like, coaches in general.
It's not about the money.
Really. Rare is the coach where he gets that payday, he hits his number, and he says, all right, I'm out.
I can just tell you this, and I don't think this is unfair speculation in talking about another man's money. Jimbo Fisher's rich, was very wealthy here. I talked with that man for years and years and years. We didn't get into his finances, but I can tell you that money never came up. And the idea of making more money never came up. Now, when people would say, well, he used his leverage when LSU came calling to get more money, I'm telling you, more often than not, that was less about him getting more money and more about him trying to get more money for his assistants or get something that he wanted. Now, his agent's going to work out a good deal, and it's going to so happen to benefit him, true. And he's not going to get in the way of that.
It's going to benefit the agent who got you in that position in the first place. Yes, it's a bonus for the agent.
Yeah, and he's not going to get in the way of that and say, no, don't get me more money. But he wasn't one of those guys, and I've not met a coach who's been one of those guys who off the record or in meetings with his agent say, well, you tell them I'm not coming back for less than 5.8 or 5.9 or next year better be 6.2. That's not – you get to a certain point where the money's no object. Now, in every person's individual situation, there are reasons to certainly make and ask for more money. And Jimbo Fisher had that because of the unfortunate illness to his son Ethan. And in that case, you would want to amass as much money as possible. But I never saw him do that. I never saw him fight to do that. I never saw that being a motivating factor. I mean, the man drove around a pickup truck with stupid camouflage on the bottom of it, and he was making over $5 million a year. You think he cares about money?
No, not at all. Yeah, he's not showing up wearing 3-button suits to the FSU basketball game when it's on primetime. He's in jeans and he's in a long sleeve polo shirt because that's who he is. But the funny part is, and I know that we're approaching a dangerously close territory to rehashing everything all over again about why Jimbo left, but I mean that was a part of the reason he left for Texas A&M, was it not?
I think it's what the money represents.
Right. Perfect answer.
Yeah, I think it's what the money represents. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities says 'tis the season to save energy and money. And that's why your own utilities says it's time to focus on those Energy Star appliances like clothes washers, dishwashers, refrigerators, and freezers, even pool pumps and water heaters. Rebates range from $40 to $300. AC and heat pump rebates go as high as $750. And when you buy Energy Star appliances, you save twice. You'll save when you get the rebate from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, and you'll save again on your utility bill, because it's a fact that Energy Star appliances use less energy than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebates. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
The all-new WTSM app. Download for iPhone or Android today.
One more time.
The all-new WTSM app. Download for iPhone or Android today.
One more time.
The all-new WTSM app. Download for iPhone or Android today.
One more time. No! God, please, no! No! No!
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news into the Sports Center newsroom. The Raiders are going to introduce Jon Gruden as their new head coach. We already knew that. It'll be on Tuesday. We didn't know that. Now, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the deal, which we did not know, 10 years worth, approximately $100 million. Overnight, is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? It's coming. That we do know. When? No one knows. But ESPN's Seth Wickersham reporting overnight, there's a growing divide among Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and owner Robert Kraft over the treatment of Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, the handling of Jimmy Garoppolo. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
This happens. There have been a lot of things where Belichick has upset Kraft. They've had meetings where they've gone at it. Now Kraft's upset at Belichick. It happens. I've been upset with my coaches. I've been upset with upper management. They traded Lawyer Malloy a week before the season. I lashed out at the organization. It happens. Welcome to the New England Patriots.
Patriots are off this week with a first-round playoff bye.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. Oh, there you are, throat. There you are, vocal cords. Don't worry, there's some inner wheeze going to happen here at some point. I can feel it.
Wheeze. Don't do that. Now you're just taunting it.
No, well, listen. I was in denial about it briefly, and then it just took hold, and I said, what am I going to do? We got freaking issues over here. You know, I wonder, by the way, interesting point. We were just talking about Jon Gruden getting $100 million. Gil Brandt asked the question, rightfully so, what would Bill Belichick get in the open market?
Well, considering the story that ESPN penned today, perhaps that's a question we'll get the answer to.
It'd be great if the Bucs were in the bid.
Well, now you got to bring, 12, 13 at minimum per year to the table?
Crazy. You know, that story, I don't know. It's interesting. You just heard it on the National Sports Center there with great vigor. They reported that story. That
Is that Kevin Winter?
Kevin is, he's a company guy. So, you know, that's an effort, right? I mean, you get that story. I don't discount it. Wickersham does a good job. I'm sure that's all real. I don't know how different it is than a lot of other places, though, where you've had success. I mean, you guys all work at a place somewhere where if you've been there for a while, you've seen the ebbs and flows, the good and the bad. And if the company's successful, there are a number of people responsible for that, and their egos grow. Everybody's does. It happens in the sports talk world. It happens in entertainment especially, and in sports. And I would think that everybody likes to believe that they're appreciated and that they're recognized and that they're the cornerstone of that company's success, right? And, you know, whenever that gets infringed upon or somebody else is getting more of the credit than they think they deserve or somebody's more prominent in the description of those successes, then, you know, egos get hurt and people get bruised and people get to talking about it. I've thought for a long time that it's a miracle that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady haven't had some form of a falling out in the past. I mean, first of all, one's an offensive player, the other's a defensive mind. Both are egomaniacs, and I don't necessarily say that in a negative way because I think to become what they've become and as successful as they are, you kind of have to be. You know, we bring this up a lot that some of and most of the most successful people in their fields, come to find out if you hang out with them a little bit, certainly aren't afraid to tell you about it.
Yeah, typically you don't, I mean, like all shucks type people, they can be great at their concentration and sport, but they won't be the best of all time. They'll be the guy that, you know, you think of golf, for example, it's a golfer that wins a major or two, and you're like, man, he could have won so much more if he just cared. But, you know, golf was kind of just part of his journey. It wasn't his life. So look at John Daly versus Tiger Woods, right?
Well, John's got other issues. How about Fred Couples? Fred Couples has one major.
Sure.
John Daly has more major wins than Fred Couples.
He's got two.
And you would say, and so would I, that Fred Couples is an infinitely superior golfer than John Daly. But Fred is as laid back as they come and probably isn't all that affected by coming up short in the majors.
Sure. Well, I mean, John had problems, but golf wasn't always his life, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he were like Tiger, his addiction would have been golf. You know, because I'm not saying, I mean, look at Tiger's life and John's life. One will die sooner, one we would think.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that Tiger's more healthy than John is mentally speaking, even though their appearances are drastically different.
Yeah.
One is jacked out of his mind, and the other one, well, John Daly's John Daly. All I'm saying is it's been harnessed. That desire has been harnessed in a different place. Like John's focus was to have a good time, yet he still is a multi-major winner.
Because
and Tiger's focus was only on golf.
Well, and sex with women.
Well, yeah.
At all times. Off the course.
Right.
Yeah. I think he had an addiction off the course,
but he wasn't racing off the 18th. No, man, he would race from wherever he was in the morning, wherever he found himself.
Right.
And then he'd
then get there, and then it was locked
17 buckets of balls.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
Like, that was his number one love.
I actually think this is a fun topic because when you get into the psychiatry or the psychology of this and the pathos, right? They're both broken. Most people are. We all are.
John's gift is unbelievable, and he never even came close to that's what I'm saying, the talent level.
I think there's an argument to be made that John Daly is more talented than the vast majority of the golfers on tour. Because you couldn't win two majors and have the success that he's had being as, well, undisciplined as he's been if you didn't have unbelievable coordination, eye-hand coordination talent. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah, that's
look how long that swing is. His fat ass still makes a complete turn, is 700 pounds and half drunk, and hits it 350 yards dead down the fairway. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. He might be one of the best golfers of all time.
Yeah.
Has to be, right?
But there's a lot of things that go into being the best, and typically what happens is when you meet the people that are at the tops of their field, they're jerks. They're impossible.
They harness all of that.
Well, they're
whatever
singular
that
in
is.
focus. It's nuts.
Singular.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all they do. That's what they are. And they're not complete people. And that's why if you have any semblance of balance in your life, if you're around one of those people, you go, this isn't going to work. I can't sit here and talk to this guy about the same damn thing every day, his putting stroke or whatever it is that he keeps incessantly talking about because that's all he can think of. No, nobody wants to do that. Like, you know, when you talk to people who've been around the best of the best, whether it's people who knew or know Michael Jordan or people who hung out, I mean, I'm friends, everybody knows this who's listened to the show for any length of time, with William Floyd, who played with Jerry Rice and Steve Young And those guys, and no, I'm not going to talk out of school, but I doubt Jerry Rice was a lot of fun. I mean, that's a guy that's running his route completely to the end zone after every throw in a practice, and we all got to wait on him to come back here because he has to show everybody that he's 100% committed at all times. That would get old, and that's one element of his personality.
But not to him. It doesn't get old to Jerry.
That makes him broken. He's a mess.
Yes, yeah. Well, now, but the interesting part of this article, again, it's on the front page, ESPN.com. The Gruden story may overtake it, but yeah, it's the ESPN magazine piece, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a fun read.
Is that things changed recently.
Well, Tom's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. What's going on
we were
here.
on to.
We've been on to
He
this
was
for a
talking
while.
about alkalinity in his body and pliability.
Water drinking incessantly. Good Lord.
He's impervious to injury. Like, he had these long excerpts from his book when they came out. I was like, really? For the first time in my life, because I've been indifferent about the Patriots. If they win, it's like house game. You know, I don't really care. It doesn't change anything. I don't get more mad. I know, the people they beat get mad, but we were never there to be beaten by them, so whatever. But this was the first time this year where I said, oh, well, screw you, pal. What do you mean? You're pushing the fact that you sleep in this like aluminum blanket thing for the TB12 chamber overnight.
Well, he's in bed by 7 p.m.
And you drink enriched water that is it's proprietary, of course. You can only get the mixture my way.
TB12.
So you're going to be that guy. Okay.
Well, he just recently launched into that. And he hasn't always been that guy, and that's the reason, according to this article, that's part of the reason for the breakup, for the trouble that they've got going on between Kraft, Belichick, Brady. It's lunacy, okay? When you start hearing people say that players who get hurt, basically blaming the players who get hurt for not doing the things to prevent the injury that the game itself is going to cause eventually. You play a violent game. Brady is now of the mindset that players who get hurt in some way contributed to that by not doing what he's doing to better prepare their bodies for the game that is as violent as football is, and that if they had, they likely would not have torn their Achilles or blown out their knee or broken their leg. And that makes you insane. That's nuts. That's crazy. That's to suggest that there are things you can do to keep yourself from dying. You know, these lunatics that like to believe that they'll live forever because they're in denial of death, or they're chasing something they can never reach. They didn't get enough of daddy's love, whatever it might be, and they start saying crazy stuff because they can't accept that they're mortal, that it's all going to come to a crashing end. Well, that's what he sounds like. He sounds like a doomsday guy. He sounds like a Scientologist, some just crazy nonsense, just muttering. I wonder, it would be crazy to think if Tom Brady's downfall at the end of his career is that he turned into, in essence, like I said, a Scientologist.
Yeah. Well, that's what that quote read like earlier this year.
It's nuts.
I've never heard anything like that. You know, that he wants to play till he's 50, whatever. You know, guys say that all the time. Julio Franco damn near did. You know, but Tom all of a sudden went from, in general, I want to do that, to here are the specifics how I live my life. And you can too. Buy my book. Take the TB12 method test. You could, you know what I mean? Like he went from not just, front man of the most famous organization in the last 20 years. He went all the way to crazy salesman. Like he didn't go to salesman and pitchman and Peyton Manning, who's just pushing any product that'll pay him the money that he wants. And now he'll be the aw shucks guy who says, well, you can get 2 pizzas right now for $15.99. And there you go. You throw in a free 2-liter.
I can respect that. I'm fine with that. It's ridiculous.
Tom is saying, well, I can change your life and the way you
can
live it.
Forever.
Your pliability will be higher than ever before. The alkalinity in your blood will change the way you perceive time and space. I mean, no, but it's that kind of wacky stuff.
No, it was.
He's sleeping in like an aluminum blanket at night. A hyperbaric chamber every night.
You could sense Belichick's frustration. When you read the piece, Belichick is uneasy with all of this, right? Tom keeps bringing this trainer around. And some of the other teammates like to work out with the guy, the Guerrero guy. And then it becomes proprietary, like you said. All of a sudden now you can only do what that guy's saying and not what the Patriots trainers are saying. And if you do this and not that, then you'll be able to avoid these injuries, so on and so forth. And then guys begin to feel pressure because the face of the franchise, the Hall of Fame quarterback, is telling them to do one thing, and the organization is saying, no, you need to see team doctors. You don't need to go to this fruitcake that's not even part of the organization whom we allow to wander the sideline because our egomaniac franchise quarterback insists upon it. At some point, Belichick's like, no, we're done here. We're done. You're crazy. Keep him away. You're not allowed back here. And then Tom gets upset. And he gets upset because Belichick goes out and drafts Garoppolo, whom early in the process he begins to realize is going to be Tom Brady's successor. And realizes the kid is really talented. And now they've got a guy and a plan in place to move forward life beyond Tom Brady. Brady sees it as a threat. He does nothing to help the kid. Okay, fine. That's kind of normal, actually. A lot of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, see Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers, amongst others, didn't reach out to help their successors. They weren't going to be a part of their future demise, right? But so he begins to resent Garoppolo, and Belichick begins to hold Garoppolo up on high until Kraft sides with Brady and says, we're going to sign you to a long-term deal. I believe you can play till you're 45. And Belichick is going, are you insane? Never in the history of the NFL has any quarterback over the age of 40 played at an elite level. And even though this guy's a freak and has been great and I love him, I don't think we should marry ourselves to this guy. We've got a young kid who we should get ready to start and soon. And once Kraft sides with Brady, now you've got a divide.
Right. And he's like, well, and have you noticed he's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs here, man? I mean, in the last couple of years.
Yeah, imagine
has
that
he preached to you,
conversation.
Robert? I'm sure he has. So I checked out his sleep, style and methods, and it takes you
I
to
love
this.
that you're obsessed with this.
To
It's
this
great.
Under Armour page, right? Because that's his sponsor, the TB12,
sure, yeah.
whatever. Okay, so if you want to buy a short sleeve Tom Brady TB12's
No thanks.
T-shirt for sleeping, $80
For sleeping?
$80 for the sleeping shorts. All right, and it's the science of sleepwear. The key to athlete recovery sleepwear is the far infrared print inside. Far infrared is a type of energy on the infrared spectrum that benefits the human body. We've harnessed these benefits to help you recover even when you're resting. And if you want to see the independent study that tells you about this
As done by
technology,
TB12.
Independent, I'm sure.
Sure.
Yes. You can just click right here and find it. But instead, you could just order right now
Yeah,
and
just
save
go ahead.
10%.
Just trust us on this. Buy the shirt.
$80 for the T-shirt to sleep in if you want to be TB12. Yeah.
$80 shirt to sleep in.
$80. $80 for the shorts.
Now
They
listen,
don't come together.
Wasn't T.O. sleeping in a hyperbolic chamber?
I think so.
I mean, a lot of athletes have done that, and there are benefits to that.
If
But
you want the pants, it's $100.
have they been able to do it now to where you get the same effect just by some shorts and a T-shirt?
See, they're really pushing these long sleeves here because the short sleeves are $80, but if you want the long sleeves, it's just $20 more.
I can't sleep in a long sleeve shirt, buddy. That ain't happening. I don't sleep in anything anyhow. I sleep butt-ass naked. It could be 5 degrees outside. I can't be sleeping in nothing.
Well,
I would never,
you've been pushing that envelope.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've been pushing it on everybody. Sleeping naked, that is.
Oh.
My wife's like, no, stop with the pushing. I'm going to sleep.
That's not what you do. That's not what you do.
Well, loosey-goosey additions to the program sometimes reveal a little bit more than you wanted to hear. Or no.
That poor comforter.
Oh, it's like, oh, here he comes again. Most assuredly, butt-ass naked as always. Come on, buddy. It's 7 degrees outside.
Well,
here you are.
Could you wash me, please?
It's just flopping away. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
No.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balance
on with a makeup bag makeover. Buy one, get one 25% off wellness beauty brands like Shea and Tom's. Or getting better for you Simply Balanced Organic Milk for $2.99. For a clean start, get $10 off when you spend $40 on must-haves like Tide and Bounty. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Pricing may vary, restrictions may apply.
Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Kraft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Kraft Nissan's service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Kraft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Kraft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
If your New Year's resolutions include being smarter with your money, come into the Home Depot this weekend to save big on appliance special buys, like a Samsung stainless steel gas range, right now just $648, with 5 burners, removable griddle, convection cooking, and almost unlimited possibilities. Now that's smart with savings that make you extra smart. Save on appliance special buys this weekend at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See store for details. Valid through January 24th.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
That's good on you, Stephen Ford Green. Kind-hearted soul.
Or Stephen Smith Williams, in case you're not supposed to be out and about.
He
and there's supposed
doesn't
to be a
mind.
word.
He was actually getting something for his kids, listening to the show on his way to pick up some lozenges, and he heard me struggling and said, well, let me help my boy out. Swung by and dropped off. What do I got here? Jolly Ranchers. Hall's Defense. Orange-flavored, citrus-flavored. All right. And good old-fashioned 5 flavors Lifesavers. Lifesavers are kind of underrated.
They're quite good. I've always liked the Lifesavers.
I never buy them. I don't buy sweets, really. But if somebody ever gives me a Lifesaver, I'm like, these are good. These are good. I like these.
Good people doing good things. Is that what you replied?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's not what I said. I told him that kind of kindness and loyalty will ensure a spot when we expand the staff.
There you go.
But yes, he did say good people doing good things, which I really appreciate. Jeff, this is an old reference, but who do you not want knocking at the door? Seth Wickersham or Charles Robinson? Yeah, Charles Robinson is the investigative reporter for Yahoo. The joke that was on the show for years was, you don't want Yahoo knocking on that door. That's your ass.
Even if it's Wetzel.
Because when Yahoo comes calling, you're about to get exposed in a way that usually means the end of something.
Run, big run for your life, get some help!
Yeah. You see that car pull up, it's time to ride.
It's Lawyer 30. And brush up on that CV, that old resume.
Yeah, that's usually a problem. And typically those guys are showing up at the facility when they're going to expose a college football program of some kind. And once the lights get turned on, they're awfully bright. The roaches, they go scurrying, and you've got things to cover up.
Run, big run for your life, get some help!
Problematic. I hear that the new Chappelle specials are fantastic.
I heard the same. I have not viewed them yet.
Which is cool two he just did one last year that I liked both of them. And this the first one was better than the other.
Correct.
Yeah. I just love Chappelle. I'm excited to know there's more Chappelle out there. That's good. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
That's ZipRecruiter.com/build.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa. Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 Wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the Fourth Quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MP46050.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9. Happy hour drink specials and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news into the Sports Center newsroom. The Raiders are going to introduce Jon Gruden as their new head coach. We already knew that. It'll be on Tuesday. We didn't know that. Now, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the deal, which we did not know, 10 years worth, approximately $100 million. Overnight, is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? It's coming. That we do know. When? No one knows. But ESPN's Seth Wickersham reporting overnight, there's a growing divide among Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and owner Robert Kraft over the treatment of Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, the handling of Jimmy Garoppolo. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
This happens. There are a lot of things where Belichick has upset Kraft. They've had meetings where they've gone at it. Now Kraft's upset at Belichick. It happens. I've been upset with my coaches. I've been upset with upper management. They traded Lawyer Malloy a week before the season. I lashed out at the organization. It happens. Welcome to the New England Patriots.
Patriots are off this week with a first-round playoff bye.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, and a fine Libations Friday to you and yours. Loosey-goosey edition of the program. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you miss something, we'll post it, all 3 hours of it, in fact, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show, jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app. Free, use it, and on YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Florida State has their defensive coordinator in play. That's good news. Harlan Barnett is hired. Willie Taggart bringing in Harlan from Michigan State. And good hire, I think. I was excited about the name when I first heard it amongst the candidates. He was one that I thought would be a good fit. Of course, for those wondering, his background is as follows. He's a guy that was an assistant under Nick Saban at LSU. He coached, in fact, with Jimbo Fisher at one time. He's a former professional football player. He was a safety. He coached defensive backs at Michigan State before becoming the DC. He's worked with, obviously, Mark D'Antonio. He's worked with Nick Saban. He's worked with Jimbo Fisher. He's worked with Bill Belichick. So this is a guy that comes with a stacked resume and has had a lot of success, and is a guy that I think will fit in nicely. Alonzo Hampton also joining the staff. He'll come in as special teams / defensive backs. The staff has kind of come together now really nicely, and we're still waiting on a few things, just a few hires left to go. But now when you have Fry as your offensive line coach, Lockett at tight end, Pimpleton at running back, Odell, of course, sticking around to be the defensive line coach. We just mentioned Hampton and Woody and Barnett. So the staff is nearly done. Still need a wide receiver coach. Still need defensive backs coach, if you will. It's going to be interesting. We said it last hour. We'll say it again here. It may break while we're on the air today. Don't know. But we're waiting on whether or not Ron Dugans is going to say yes to Florida State, or if Florida State's going to move on from Ron Dugans because this negotiation is lagging, is dragged on a little bit. I would think today would be the answer. I from what I've heard, what I've read, people I've talked to, I think they're going to either move on today or he's going to say yes today.
Well, there's no doubt that for a wide receivers coach, you don't need to be negotiating for weeks, 10 days, whatever it is, because his name has been attached to this particular opening since Willie Taggart took the job. It's a logical move for Ron Dugans, given that he would be coming back to his alma mater and that he would be working under a head coach that he's worked under at different stops in the state of Florida. But if that's not enough, then no big deal. You're still a Knoll. You're just coaching for the Canes, and we'll see about putting 7 more in a row together against you beginning next season. Just make the decision and go on. The good news is a couple of numbers on your new defensive coordinator. He's 51 years old, and it's $900,000 or a little bit less than $1 million a year. So we'll see, maybe it's $950,000, whatever. But it's less dollars than you thought, given the last 2 to 3 weeks of how coordinator hires have gone and the price tags associated with those hires. It's good.
Yeah, and he's the same age basically as Charles Kelly. Everywhere else, Florida State got younger. Head coach on down. Everywhere else they got younger. This was something we talked about before, that Florida State's staff previously was aging. Frankly, when we talk about connecting with recruits, they needed more diversity. Staff did. That is to say, they needed to have more African Americans on staff. And they needed to get younger. Those were the two things that when you talk to people in that business, people who follow recruiting closely, who interview those kids, who talk with people, they would say, well, Florida State's got a real good staff, a little old and a little white. Need to get younger and a little blacker. Now, people don't like to hear that. People get uncomfortable when you have those kinds of
now
conversations.
Now it's overwhelmingly African-American.
Well, yeah, and I'm indifferent about that, but I'm quite sure there are people who aren't indifferent about that.
Sure.
I want qualified individuals, white, black, or otherwise, and that's what everybody should want. But let's not be children. Let's not pretend there aren't elements of race involved in almost everything that we talk about and do. There is. And so it's not something you have to fear discussing. The point is, Florida State has accomplished their goal in getting younger. And while they're at it, they have certainly added quite a few African-Americans to the staff, and it will be interesting to see if they get Ron Dugans. I think that's a home run hire if you can get it because, again, we're talking about young. We're talking about guys that have an affinity and a passion for the place who want to be here, and guys that I think that a lot of Florida State fans would want on the staff. But if you can't get him, up to now, let's be honest, it's been a really good process. It was getting a little nerve-wracking. We were getting a little worried, but I kept being told time and again by people behind the scenes, don't worry about it. He's got plenty of choices. A lot of people want these jobs.
It'll be interesting to see once all the numbers shake out who makes what comparatively, and then you can do the little game in your head, right? If everything succeeds, which is what we think as college football fans for our own program, when we win 10 or 11 games a year over the next 2 or 3 years, who's the likeliest candidate to either get a bump or move on to the next job? That's the whole fun of it. We were just kind of left waiting saying, well, I know we've got a running backs coach and a tight ends coach and a linebackers coach who may or may not be coaching half the linebackers. We'll see. But I would like to know some of these other big pieces to the pie, and that's what the next couple of weeks is going to be about. I mean, we said it towards the end of December. Man, 2018 gets a nice kick in the pants from a football perspective. You know, there's new energy here. That's what Willie brought. There's going to be new faces preaching new visions, maybe repackaged visions that are quite the same as what Jimbo was doing. It's just presented in a different way. So you get to meet these faces, you get to know them, see what they can do on the recruiting trail in 4 weeks, and then they'll be talking to Nole fans direct for that signing day party, which would be pretty cool too.
Always fun, and I've reached out to Florida State. We're trying to bring in Willie Taggart early next week to I get an opportunity to talk to him for the second time since he's been head coach to discuss with him about these hires and what he's been able to put together, the staff he's been able to put together, and what that process was like. I'm sure it was stressful, unique. I don't think in the history of coaching that he's been coaching that he's ever been in a situation quite like this where you come into a place in which, because of the early signing period, you've got dual roles and of equal importance. You're trying to put together a staff. That's pretty damn important. And you're trying to salvage a recruiting class. Players are pretty damn important. So that had to have been unbelievably stressful.
And I like in this situation, too, that you brought in somebody from East Lansing who has a background coaching the group that he will be, focusing on if he is focusing on a position group. And by that, I mean, when Charles Kelly was promoted to defensive coordinator, he was the linebackers coach and special teams coach, not the defensive backs coach. So he moved his concentration. And, I mean, you could take a look at defensive back play after Pruitt left and then, when Kelly took over.
It fell off, yeah.
It fell off, man. And that wasn't his specialty. Maybe it should have been linebackers and they should have shuffled the staff, but that's all gone and done now. This is somebody who specializes in the position, who has been upgraded to co-defensive coordinator, who is well thought of, who has played the position under Bill Belichick, has learned from Nick Saban. I mean, good Lord.
And there's little doubt that Nick Saban is, if not the best, one of the best coaches in America when it comes to the defensive backfield. Listen, he's the greatest head coach of all time, arguably.
Sure.
But his specialty is defensive backs. And if you ever watch those coaching clinics that are online with him, those are awesome. They're fun to watch.
That was one fundamental thing that always frustrated me. It was kind of like the same kick returners and punt returners. You go, come on, man. Like, listen, I get it. I don't know all the nuances. I don't see every day in practice. But you can't tell me that you can't put somebody else different, returning kicks or returning punts. In the same way, it was frustrating that after a couple of seasons, you knew that Charles Kelly was just better at being a linebackers coach than he was a defensive backs coach, yet we never addressed that problem. Here you have a defensive coordinator who gets it with defensive backs, and what are we getting commits from right now in droves?
Left and right, yeah.
Left and right, 4- and 5-star corners and safeties want to come here. Great. Good. Let's develop these kids and continue to be DBU like we've been for the past 4 or 5 seasons.
Florida State's 12-2, 1-1 in the ACC. Miami is ranked number 15 in the country, 12-2, 1-1 in the ACC. They'll clash 6 o'clock Sunday night at the the Watsco Center there in Coral Gables. Watsco.
Is that who they sold it to?
Televised on ESPNU, by the way. That would be Comcast Channel 396, if you're wondering. Sunday, 6 o'clock, Noles-Canes. FSU leads the all-time series against Miami. 44 wins, 35 losses. The annual series began way back in 1950. Miami had to shut down their program from 72 to 85. Embarrassing. Including 16-11 since Miami joined the ACC in the fall of 2004. FSU has an overwhelming 28-8 advantage at home against the Canes, including 12-5 at the TLC Double C. That opened up back in 1981. The annual series was actually suspended after 1990 when Hamilton was hired by the Canes, and it wasn't resumed until Hamilton's first year here at FSU in December of 2002. His record against his old team now stands at 18-11. 9-5 at the TLC Double C, 8-6 down in Coral Gables. Winning record down in Coral Gables as a head coach here at Florida State. We also beat them in the ACC tournament, 1-0 there in the ACC tournament. 2 wins over the Canes prior to Miami's entrance into the ACC as well. So, let's see. FSU swept both games in 2016. The Noles, FSU was swept in both games during the 2016 season. And, you know, by the way, I feel like this is a loss coming. And I said this yesterday on the show. I like our chances coming home against Louisville more than I do going on the road here against Miami. And not because we can't win the game or that I'm fearful of what Miami represents, but Miami's a good basketball team that just played terribly in a loss to Georgia Tech. So you're going to get their undivided attention at home, maybe even a level of desperation. It's too early in the season to say anything's a must-win, but they'll play awfully focused, awfully hard. And it's just human emotion, a natural consequence of getting to where we had to be emotionally against North Carolina to then have somewhat of a letdown when you go down to play Miami. Nothing against Miami. Program's done quite well, and obviously they're coached well. It's just that, you know, they're Miami. It's not North Carolina. It's not Duke. You've just had to play the two juggernauts of the league. It's natural to exhale. They'll play hard, and you know they're going to do that. I just don't think they'll have the requisite emotion to get by here and get this road win.
I can't disagree with that in theory, but I could also say the way we started for our first 6 games last year in ACC play, and this is another ranked team that we're playing, perhaps the ranking has our undivided attention too. Maybe we're just better as a team. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how good we are. You know, that's the thing. We were trying to figure out, at least I was, in non-conference season, are we good enough to make the tournament? Now I'm asking the question, how good are we? How precisely good is this? I mean, because the parts by themselves, separately, don't tell the story.
No.
The sum of the parts is telling a story, man. And
well, let me do this.
It's a good one.
You asked that question, understandably so, and we may find out that where I'm wrong here is we don't know what Miami is, because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know they're well coached. You know they're well, you know, just typically when you watch Miami now, you see year in and year out, they're put in a good position. The problem is they played nothing in the non-conference. They did win on the road against Minnesota in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. But other than that, they really haven't faced anybody that you would raise an eyebrow. And that's true of the ACC. They've played Pitt and Georgia Tech, and they've split. And Pitt's terrible. We think Georgia Tech's pretty bad, and they lost that game. So I don't really know what they are just yet. And hopefully, if we go there and play really well, it will, I guess, reveal that maybe they're not as good as I thought, if that happens. But, you know, again, maybe we don't know what they are either. I know collectively Florida State plays well off of each other. They play inspired basketball. They care deeply. And I don't really suspect at any point, save for when they're tired, that you're going to see that dissipate. That's just who this group is. And I was told that before the year began, that one of the things that I was going to love about this team, when I talked to my people over there that are at every practice, they said, look, man, these guys, they bring it every day at practice. They love the game. They love each other. And they know that the only way they can win is to play with each other, because they don't have a guy. They don't have a Beasley. They don't have a Bacon. There is no Isaac. There is no guy that you can turn to when things aren't going well and say, well, you're just better than everybody else on the floor. Make something happen. They don't have that, so we got to play all out with each other all the time and play hard. And if we do that, we're good enough to really win a lot of games. And so I think they bought in from day one, and so far we've seen that. And that's kick-ass, because that's an exciting way to watch a team play the game. Like, that pumps me up. I mean, there's no way you can't love that. People love that kind of passion.
I had no response because I just feel it. Yes, exactly.
It's awesome.
I feel the excitement, the energy. It's nice, isn't it?
Well, they're diving on the floor, making plays and hugging each other. It's awesome.
Even when they make mistakes, it's for the right reasons.
Sure. Oh, and then, I've said this before, and I think this is really true. Fans only get really angry at their teams or individual players when they don't believe that the kids or the grown-ups, whoever you're rooting for, whether it's a pro team or college team, care as much as they do.
Right.
That pisses them off. There's no way to watch this team and even hint at that, right? Those kids care more than you do. They care more than I do. They care a lot about each other, about the school, about the game. Yeah, it's about the coaches. It's great. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Yeah.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Recently, by an overwhelming margin, Floridians voted Amendment 2 into law. People all over the state who are suffering from conditions like cancer, seizures, or chronic pain are now legally able to seek out alternative natural treatments. The doctors at MMT Clinics of Florida specialize in evaluating your medical conditions to see if you qualify for this care under Amendment 2. To find out if you qualify, visit mmtcfl.com to fill out a simple survey or make an appointment. Again, visit mmtcfl.com to get started.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. The store that brought you your build-your-own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from, 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon.
Wake up to the power of the dollar at Taco Bell, where you can get the new $1 breakfast stacker, loaded with 3 lavish layers of fluffy eggs and melty cheese. 3 layers. There are 3 sides to the pyramid on the dollar bill. Is the Bell-Luminati behind this? Maybe the $1 breakfast stacker is the new morning order. Experience the power of the dollar at Taco Bell. At participating locations for a limited time during breakfast hours, prices may vary, tax extra.
Running low on the stuff you need? Time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like getting your resolutions on with a makeup bag makeover. Buy one, get one 25% off wellness beauty brands like Shea and Tom's. Or getting better for you Simply Balanced organic milk for $2.99. For a clean start, get $10 off when you spend $40 on must-haves like Tide and Bounty. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Pricing may vary, restrictions may apply.
Does your basement or crawl space have damp, musty odors? Do you worry about indoor gases and pollutants? Everyday living generates moisture that can nourish mold and odors, even asthmatic triggers. Indoor pollutants linked to respiratory ailments, birth defects, and cancers can become trapped in your home. You can't buy health, but you can buy Wave's moisture control and air quality products. Wave Home Solutions for a dry, healthy home. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to dryhome123.com. That's dryhome123.com.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Let the Beasties play a little bit longer. Beautiful. That's the all instrumentation album, just them jamming.
You know we have music licenses. We could just play whole tracks if we wanted to. We have protections for those.
Yeah, we can, but the problem with that is that the YouTubers will be like, yo, my man's just standing there. What are we doing?
No, he's just hanging around. He's bobbing his head. And there it is.
Bobbing his head.
Yep.
Head bobbing. Head's weaving.
That guy's rich.
$100 million. Would be weird to have no financial concerns ever for the rest of your life.
Watch your head bob, man. Watch your head bob. Guy's head is wiggling.
It's weird, too, because when you get older, you think to yourself, you know, there was a time where I believed that if that happened, like if somebody walked in right now and said, T. Lizzie, here's a check for $100 million. Jeff Cameron, here's a check for $100 million. Do what you will.
Sir, I can't cash this. It says it's made out to T. Lizzie, and that's not what your ID says.
No! Damn it, man! So, anyhow, the point would be that I used to think that that was the end of concern about anything ever. But, of course, that's just not true. But I'd like to find out. I'd love to find out what it does do, how much of those daily concerns and stressors are brought on by for, future problems revolving around money. He will not have to worry about that. He'll have to worry about adding to his playbook. And I'll tell you one thing that will be added to the Jon Gruden playbook that you will see in Oakland is the two-point conversion play of the Chicago Bears that was unveiled earlier this year on Monday Night Football that he could not stop talking about and admittedly was really cool. That was really cool.
Yes, I remember this play.
Also, I thought it was awfully odd that Detroit ran a two-point conversion play over the weekend where Matthew Stafford ends up catching a touchdown pass or a two-point conversion. And I thought, you broke that out now? It's the last week of the season. You've been eliminated. What are you doing?
Save that for Wild Card Weekend next year if you're lucky enough to make it.
Yeah. And by the way, if you haven't seen that play, go look it up. They were dumb to reveal it. It's going to score every time. Now, you can only run it once.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
It's like Oklahoma's?
Yeah, it was the best play I saw. It was all year. I went, oh, my God.
Oklahoma's is pretty nasty.
That was nasty. But this is a really amazing throwback, and it's all set up in a crazy way. They have basically what happens is Stafford's walking over as if it's discombobulated. So the center's line, everybody's lined up, and he's pointing to guys like they're confused. And he's frustrated, and he starts to walk towards the official at the line of scrimmage, but he's got to be on the line of scrimmage for the play to work. He's walking like he's going to call timeout. Defensive players kind of stand up. The ball gets snapped just after he gets lined up, and they run opposite to where he is, and nobody's covering Matthew Stafford because he's looking at the official, and then he just kind of jogs into the end zone. Nobody's there. It's a beautiful throw. It's awesome. But somebody spent real time on that thing. They had to have practiced it a ton, and I thought, you dumbasses, this is why you're Detroit. You're breaking that out in the final week of the season after you've been eliminated?
I don't know, maybe like the owner's kid came up with it or something, and that's why they ran it.
Well, it's brilliant. I mean, they should. Now the element of surprise is gone. What are you doing, man? I'd be so mad at the Bucs if they did that. I kind of was pissed when I watched it the first time. I went, what are you doing? That's not what you do.
So you're watching a meaningless game.
Yeah.
And you're a Lions fan, and you're the guy who goes, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I would have. If I were a Lions fan watching that, I'd be like, what are we doing? That's a touchdown. How about we run that in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line?
Yeah, for 6.
For 6. While we're still fighting for our playoff lives, as opposed to after we've been eliminated, running a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter of a meaningless game. What the hell are we doing? That's very Cleveland-like. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. I don't know why.
You are displeased.
I was. Sometimes I'll be watching something that you would think I would be completely indifferent about. That, you'd think, well, Jeff, you don't care about Detroit one way or the other. You certainly don't care about that game. Oh, those two losers. You know what? How in the world is it that you're so upset? Because that just makes no damn sense, and people are paid millions of dollars to make the call on that. And what are you doing?
Oh, I've got 50 of those in my head, but I can't think of one because you just brought it up. But we've all had those moments. I mean, we're flipping to a game. It could be any sport, too. It could be any sport. This makes no sense. It could be golf.
Yes.
Course management.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a big one. Usually that's fueled by ego or desperation.
Any week that Dirk is coaching a 2-minute situation and the Bucs have the ball, if we don't have the ball, then we're just giving up yards, so it's not a big deal.
I would like to talk to somebody tied to the NFL who is either a former coach or has been around the league for a very long time, because I feel like, and I wonder if a lot of our listeners believe this too, probably, because it doesn't take a lot to glean this insight. If you just watch a lot of NFL football in a given season, you've got guys whose acumen for the game are unquestioned. It's unquestioned. They're brilliant. They've got a feel for play calling, for obviously just most things, all things football. And they're paid extremely well. They're at the top of their profession. And yet I see more mismanagement of time and distance situations. It's a plague in the NFL. I do not know. It's not just the Bucs. Now, Dirk is pretty special when it comes to that. But
that's Dirkle.
Mm-hmm. The inability to understand time, score, distance, those situations, utilization of timeouts, how to properly set up the 2-minute warning to get extra plays and to get the extra time that you need to salvage a timeout, whatever it might be.
I suppose it is a defensive 2-minute situation, too, because, we didn't spend our timeouts always the right way. A couple of times we did it right, and I thought, hey!
Yeah, you got that right.
Boom. I think he was probably 3 for 10 in time and distance situations.
But that drives me nuts. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's because they spend so much time on the intricacies of an offense, of a defense, whatever it might be, that that's an area that's lacking, that they don't have a guy as committed with singular focus to that. Because, listen, normally that's going to fall on the shoulders of an assistant to alert you to certain situations. I mean, admittedly, especially if you're a play caller, you got a lot on your plate. You need that guy, the quality control guy, whoever it might be.
The tight ends coach.
Somebody that you can trust implicitly to walk over to you and say, hey, man, now remember, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever that might be. We need this. Here's the time. You've got this many timeouts. Here's how we do this. On first down, we're not calling timeout here. Right. If he catches it, we're going to spike.
There's 16 seconds. You got 2 timeouts. You can use the middle of the field.
Don't
worry about the middle of the field.
The whole playbook is open here.
Call a play to the middle of the field.
Well, the whole playbook's open here.
Yes, exactly.
By the way, that touchdown to Godwin that Jameis throws and goes against the coach's wishes is exactly why you love Jameis and why you hate Cutter. Because he had to defy the play call, which is fine. I get you're playing for a field goal to go to overtime where you're going to lose the game anyhow. But, A, why are you playing to go to overtime? The season's over. Why do you
been doing that for a month, playing to win a singular game.
Yeah, stop doing that. But, B, when he comes to the line of scrimmage, he sees they're in singles on the outside with Godwin. He's got single coverage, and yet they don't want him to check to that. He has to just decide, I'm going to do this because screw you, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I know you want me to throw to Brate on the other sideline so he can get out of bounds and we can watch Murray miss this freaking field goal, which he's going to do. But I have decided I'd like to win the damn game. And because I don't have a conscience and am not reminded incessantly by my brain and thoughts that I've thrown 3 picks today, I'm going to fearlessly throw a perfect pass down the sideline and we're going to walk in and win the game. And that was all him at the line of scrimmage. That's all him going, oh, so that's the kind of fun and games you're going to allow for us over here. And he said, Jameis said, that as he released the pass, he heard his coaching staff go, no. And how do you not come off the field flicking them off? How do you not come off the field and just walk right past those guys, right?
I think you run in the tunnel. You're not getting the ball back one way or the other. You just keep running. You get dressed, you're in a suit as everybody walks back in the locker room, and you make your media appearance, and you go.
It's just so emblematic, man. It was just exactly what you thought it would be.
I didn't know that they were yelling no. Well, I mean, I figured they were, but I didn't know he could hear that.
Yeah, you heard him yelling no. He brought it up. He said he heard him go, no. He throws a dime.
There was time for that play, too.
Yes. There was 60. When he snapped the ball.
Yeah, there's time for that shot.
Yeah, there was. Why are you playing to tie the game? The season is over.
He's been playing to win a game after we've been eliminated every game. These little to tie.
I was going to say, he's not playing to win the game. He's playing to tie
He's playing to tie games. Set up for a field goal to tie a game. But we're bringing him back, buddy. It's okay. He'll learn.
The problem with that is that, again, as much as I love Jameis, and I think he's going to continue to move in the direction of being elite, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer. You lose the coin toss.
Sometimes you have different personality types, and they elevate each other. Sometimes you don't. And that Tampa said they can elevate each other. That's what Tampa said.
But wait a minute. Now, maybe that play, there's another time where you can go in and say, Dirk, come on, man. Let's play some big boy football.
You know this is your last year if you suck.
Yeah, so what's it matter? What's it matter? We went 5-11 playing your way.
Right.
Come on, baby. Let's ride with me. Mm-hmm. Let's go. I'm going to piss you off sometimes.
And call more plays for Godwin. Okay.
Well, first of all, that's a whole other discussion because Deshaun doesn't run routes, and I ain't got time for him. But Godwin is going to be a star, and I credit you for recognizing that by week 3. I'm just saying, well, we have to find a way to utilize Deshaun if possible. I'll have to place a call. Jameis, Jeff, listen, if you would, just listen to me for one moment. I know you're a busy guy. You can't be as precise as you'd like to be. That is to say, you can't run traditional plays and throw them in certain areas where you expect a wide receiver to be given that play, given the look that you're seeing on defense, if the ball's going to Deshaun Jackson.
You got to throw to an area.
You just got to throw to a big expanse.
It's hang time.
Just some area where that speedy dude can run and get underneath it. Because other than that, he's not running the route you think he's going to run, and he's certainly never going to fight for the ball. So just please throw it into a bucket.
Unless there's a certain amount of hang time, and then he kind of has to.
But he doesn't want to fight for the ball, and he certainly doesn't want to run a route.
Don't throw it to him on a line. No, or you know what? Better yet, just give him a 5-yard slant and see if he breaks a tackle.
He's going to hang your ass out to dry is what he's going to do if you try to do that.
He's not a winning player.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You can do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car, yes sir.
Are you wanting to raise some extra cash fast? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need to clean out that garage full of stuff you never use? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need a newer car or truck and don't want to break the bank? Think Thrifty Nickel. Buying or selling, your best bet is Thrifty Nickel. All ads appear in print and online for maximum results. Place your ad today and ask for their guaranteed results special. Call 385-0505. Get your free copy of American Classifieds, available at hundreds of locations throughout the greater Tallahassee area.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have damp, musty odors? Do you worry about indoor gases and pollutants? Everyday living generates moisture that can nourish mold and odors, even asthmatic triggers. Indoor pollutants linked to respiratory ailments, birth defects, and cancers can become trapped in your home. You can't buy health, but you can buy Wave's moisture control and air quality products. Wave Home Solutions, for a dry, healthy home. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to dryhome123.com. That's dryhome123.com.
Derry's not like any town I've ever been in before.
Own the movie It on digital and Blu-ray.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. All the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing.
A clown.
If we stick together, all of us will win.
Own the digital movie now and on Blu-ray January 9th. Rated R.
We all float down here.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news into the Sports Center newsroom. The Raiders are going to introduce Jon Gruden as their new head coach. We already knew that. It'll be on Tuesday. We didn't know that. Now, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the deal, which we did not know, 10 years worth, approximately $100 million. Overnight, is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? It's coming. That we do know. When, no one knows. But ESPN's Seth Wickersham reporting overnight there's a growing divide among Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and owner Robert Kraft over the treatment of Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, the handling of Jimmy Garoppolo. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
This happens. There are a lot of things where Belichick has upset Kraft. They've had meetings where they've gone at it. Now Kraft's upset at Belichick. It happens. I've been upset with my coaches. I've been upset with upper management. They traded Lawyer Malloy a week before the season. I lashed out at the organization. It happens. Welcome to the New England Patriots.
Patriots are off this week with a first-round playoff bye.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Yeah, we were talking about Florida State hiring Harlan Barnett, and good on you, Corey Clark, writing a piece on, I alluded to this last hour, but without some of the specific quotes, certainly, from people around Michigan State, but this is considered a big loss for them. And you always like to hear glowing reports of the guy you just hired. And that's what you ended up getting with Michigan State players and media members. They'll all tell you that Willie Taggart has done a great job in bringing in his new DC. Effusive praise from there. Quote, he just isn't a coach to many of his players, says Seth Newman, the pregame host and sideline reporter for Michigan State radio broadcast, but someone that they can go to for anything, whether it's to talk football, family, or school. You see that in all of his former players responding on Twitter. He's a great coach, great father and husband, and cares about his players. One of those former players, former linebacker Darian Harris, had this to say on Twitter: congratulations to, without a doubt, one of the best human beings I've ever met, been around, and been coached by. FSU got an extraordinary man, husband, father, and one heck of a football coach. Well, I mean, yeah, again, he's got to come here and do a good job, and the proof will be in the pudding, but you do like to hear those things. You do like to read those things about people that he's worked directly with.
But it's important, especially for a defensive coordinator, to forge that bond. Defense has that own unique thing. I mean, I get it. Saban does the corporate thing, and it works for him. It does. His players still love him, as we noted towards the end last year. You know, we're playing clips of Dabo and Saban, and they still like him. But there's something to it, when a coordinator forges that bond with a player, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because you're supposed to play with passion and energy. And you think about it, how many players from the Mickey Andrews era love, and anytime they become NFL Hall of Famers, Pro Football Hall of Famers, Mickey Andrews is a big part of the speech if they play defense here at Florida State. Because even though he would dog cuss you at practice,
he loved you
in unimaginable ways, really, hearing the stories nowadays.
You can't tell those stories on the air because, Lord, I'd love to. I remember hearing some of those things, and it was hilarious.
But they love him dearly, and I think that's just more important on defense than it is offense. Offense can be a little bit more clinical, but defense, if there's passion and emotion that goes with it, man, that's all the better.
He's a product of the Saban defensive back play, said SpartanMag.com publisher Jim Camparini. Barnett is a practitioner of all that information. He brings all of that with him, and then he has the personality too. He's agreeable. He has a beautiful personality. Pretty cool to hear. Again, more love of what he's done. By the way, he has coached the defensive backs at Michigan State for 11 years, spent the last 3 seasons as the co-defensive coordinator, shared the position with Mike Tressel. Tressel was on the sideline during the games, and Barnett was in the booth calling plays. Tressel also worked mainly with the front 7 while Barnett coached the back end. Coach Barnett loves to play aggressive with his defensive backs, and he trusts them. They love to play physical. They got a lot of turnovers as a result of that. I don't know too much about Florida State's defense, but I imagine they just got a lot more aggressive with the hiring of Barnett. Okay.
Well, that's good. Like that, too.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
I believe my philosophy on defense is you have to play an attacking style of defense. People reserve that for offensive mindsets, and they'll talk about being aggressive on offense. Now, it stands to reason the very nature of the position on defense is you have to be aggressive. But I think you can play an aggressive, attacking style of defense, and that was my biggest concern with Charles Kelly. We didn't attack.
Well, and that breeds passion that I'm talking about. The players love Charles Kelly, but again, the way we played, you weren't able to see. You weren't able to know how good Derwin James was, for example, this year. Now, if you look at the advanced metrics and how much stock you put into that, that's up to you. It says that he was one of the better safeties in the country this year. We know what he is athletically, and we know what he will be at the Combine. But there weren't as many opportunities for him to be featured. And, the moments he had as a freshman are still most of the highlights that you will see for his career of him running people over, offensive linemen, Lamar Jackson, receivers, poor receivers over the middle. I mean, that's the thing that I think it breeds on itself, man. If you play with passion, you fly to the ball. You play with emotion. You're aggressive as a defensive back core.
Well, collectively,
it's infectious, and it changes momentum of a game. It really can, especially in college.
Great defense is played by a group, obviously. It's not an individual superstar at a position. They can exist, but obviously it's played with a form of togetherness, right? An attacking, surround, smother the ball type style, and usually that is celebrated. So, I've talked about the great defenses of yesteryear. Plays are made, and there are 10 other guys there to pick up the guy who just made that play and celebrate with him. It's communal.
Well, again, and I get there are a lot of similar principles here because this is a coach who comes from the Saban coaching tree, and that's the defense we were calling was what Jeremy Pruitt brought in, and that's what Charles Kelly continued to call. So it's a similar look, at least in base. But didn't it feel like each of the 11 players had an individual assignment, especially on the back end of the defense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you've got 6 defensive backs into the play. Didn't they all feel like they had individual assignments rather than they played as a collective group?
Right. Yeah, moved together as one.
This play didn't work because this guy wasn't where he was supposed to be or that guy where he wasn't supposed to be. And you see finger pointing back and forth.
Very frustrating.
There's a difference when you see the swarm, man. And hopefully this guy brings it to the table for us.
Camparini went on to say he checks all the boxes. He is an intellectual. He levels with guys. There's a level of expectation, and nobody gets to slide. The best player is going to play. If you're a true freshman and you're the best player, you'll play. These are all things, again, they're saying the right things, and I'm going to assume that it's a big reason as to why he got hired. Look, it's been fairly obvious since Willie Taggart got hired that he is aware of some problems that had begun to infest the locker room and on the playing field, whether that be at practice or in a game. And he's done things so far, whether that's in a speech or in practice, meaning to say that he, in his hirings, in his methodologies of recruiting, to seem to address those particular problems directly. And I don't think that's an accident. I think he knows that, for example, guys were allowed to slide. Guys were allowed to get away with things. Basically, this is the post-2014, it begins in 2014, where guys kind of go through the motions for any number of reasons, and they're allowed to get away with it. And then that breeds a problem in the locker room because younger players begin to see that. And I think Willie Taggart obviously did his homework and became aware of these things, and now through the practice of who he's hiring and what his philosophy is and whether that is extolled at a press conference or on the practice field, he's addressing the problems that saw Florida State fall to 7-6 this year.
I think on the checklist for this year is things we'd like to see out of our defensive coordinator. Number 1, a consistent pass rush. Number 2, if we're going to telegraph a blitz, let's get out of it and not, at least let's not telegraph what we're doing before the play. And number 3, if we're going to line up at depth, let's line up at the correct depth and not allow for quick checkdowns that achieve first downs.
Yeah.
Basic stuff, because that's what had happened by the end here is you had basic breakdowns. I mean, the kind of stuff that, man, 10 years ago you might have gotten away with, but you could never get away with now as specialized as quarterbacks are coming in out of 7-on-7 play.
Yeah, and what's weird about that, too, and not to, again, go down that rabbit hole of, I guess, bemoaning the problems that Jimbo allowed to have happen in this program towards his end here. But that always struck me as odd, that the lack of attention to detail and some of the game day revelations that indicated poorly coached teams are on display here, or units. That's a guy who talked early on in the process that you cannot get away with what you used to be able to get away with because kids are so much more polished the day they step foot on campus as a quarterback because of 7-on-7. Like you just mentioned, he knew that. He was at the forefront of that conversation. He told everybody that it's changed the game forevermore. And yet you would watch that and you'd say, well, what, my man, what gives? You already know this.
Yeah. And certain, I mean, you're right. Let's not dredge up everything about the last couple of years that we didn't like. There was some good in there too. But situational calls, this is somebody who's called plays for a defense that has impressed, and it's had less than its opponents have, at least when you're talking about the top of the conference. And Michigan State has been routinely upsetting teams better than itself over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Man, it's going to be a tough offseason because now that you've accomplished, by and large, and we're still watching very closely today here as we round out the week, what's going to happen with Ron Dugans. But now that you've largely accomplished what you set out to do in bringing in a Fry, and then obviously, being excited as we all are with Harlan Barnett, now you're just waiting on the spring game. Man, now you're just waiting on, recruiting. I guess recruiting because you got the February signing. So you still got what's left of recruiting. But once we get past that, we are so eager as a fan base to see what this is going to look like and how this is going to play out.
That's exactly where my mind is going, because you bring up Fry, the offensive line coach, and it's something I'd really like to know, and maybe he'll be able to answer himself if he has his own press conference, or Willie can answer if he comes on next week. Come on, Willie. Come on down. But it's about the philosophy of what type of offensive lineman we're going to recruit, size and skill set, and then how we're going to implement that. Are we going to try, because it, man, there are some teams that run spread options that like to use more nimble and agile offensive linemen. Then there are some that like to integrate a little bit of both. I know Willie likes Harbaugh's tactics when it comes to playing a little bit more of a physical style in the running game, but how does that affect who we recruit? Because we're also trying to run at pace here. So you can't have like 350-pound guys like you would with a standard, two-back offense. So what is it going to look like, and how are we going to recruit the position? How are we going to coach the position?
Fry, by the way, while at Michigan, churned out a lot of pros and was in charge of the tackles and the tight ends. And he also was the run game coordinator while at Michigan. So those two have not worked together, meaning Taggart and Fry. But Fry grew up in Clearwater, Florida. Right down there, came to Florida State, was an offensive lineman under Bobby Bowden from 1992 to 95. So he's on a national championship team. And then even though those guys hadn't worked together, it's Fry spent time working under Jim Harbaugh, who, of course, Willie Taggart worked with at Stanford.
So in the power run game, I think the principles will hold over. But again, it's just that's been such a problem that I think, if you're just trying to channel the fans' questions for a second. All right, so we've had Trickett for forever and a day.
By the way, Fry replaced Trickett at West Virginia.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
And the word on the street is he's better at coaching something like a more of a spread style than he is a power style. Which, if you talk to one of our mutual friends, Mike, for example, who's a big Michigan fan, he said it's kind of the same deal. Like they're like, well, he can kind of go. It's the opposite of the article you read.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about offensive line coaches in general. I mean, the fans' ire is always directed at the offensive line coach. I mean, they're the bane of everybody's existence.
But there is no doubt that what we're going to be running, given what Willie Taggart has said to this point, is going to be far different than what Jim Harbaugh is running at Michigan. We're running a completely different offense. So how are we going to recruit and develop to that end?
Fry's developed 20 offensive linemen and sent them to the NFL in his time in his coaching career. He is averaging more than one per year. He has obviously done a good job in that regard. He's a good recruiter, too, at the position. So you wonder what becomes of the guys he's been.
Well, there's a 5-star who is still out there.
Yeah,
and he's gettable.
Come on down, baby.
Yeah,
they go from Trickett, who was 69 years old, to Fry, who's 45. Younger again, a lot younger again. Good news. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the
Last, call us at 656-8112.
Harper Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe.
number CCC 049350.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. The store that brought you your build-your-own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from, 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Wake up to the power of the dollar at Taco Bell, where you can get the new $1 breakfast stacker, loaded with 3 lavish layers of fluffy eggs and melty cheese. 3 layers. There are 3 sides to the pyramid on the dollar bill. Is the Bell-Luminati behind this? Maybe the $1 breakfast stacker is the new morning order. Experience the power of the dollar at Taco Bell. At participating locations for a limited time during breakfast hours, prices may vary, tax extra.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac is back at it, supporting the High School Scholar Athlete of the Month on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Listen every Wednesday to hear our monthly winners. Check them out at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMCCadillac.com.
If you've been suffering from a chronic illness and prescription drugs aren't working, it's time to seek alternative treatment. Dr. Joe Dorn provides evaluations and ordering of natural products for patients who qualify under the new Amendment 2 law. To make an appointment with Dr. Dorn or for a free e-visit, go to mmtcfl.com. That's mmtcfl.com. Visit Dr. Dorn at our Tallahassee MMT Clinic on Capitol Circle Northeast, next to the Cake Shop. It's time to stop suffering and seek affordable and compassionate care.
Tallahassee Sports Authority.
Your station is the great tower of filth mentioned in the book of Revelation.
This is Tallahassee Sports Authority, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news into the Sports Center newsroom. The Raiders are going to introduce Jon Gruden as their new head coach. We already knew that. It'll be on Tuesday. We didn't know that. Now, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the deal, which we did not know, 10 years worth, approximately $100 million. Overnight, is this the end of the Patriots dynasty? It's coming. That we do know. When? No one knows. But ESPN's Seth Wickersham reporting overnight, there's a growing divide among Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and owner Robert Kraft over the treatment of Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, the handling of Jimmy Garoppolo. ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
This happens. There are a lot of things where Belichick has upset Kraft. They've had meetings where they've gone at it. Now Kraft's upset at Belichick. It happens. I've been upset with my coaches. I've been upset with upper management. They traded Lawyer Malloy a week before the season. I lashed out at the organization. It happens. Welcome to the New England Patriots.
Patriots are off this week with a first-round playoff bye.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. Thanks so much for tuning to it. Happy Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything, but hey, if you miss something, it happens sometimes. You're busy. We'll post all 3 hours upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app for mobile devices. And we're on YouTube. Hope all of you are well. Florida State has a new defensive coordinator. It's Harlan Barnett. He comes over, highly regarded from Michigan State, where he's done a fantastic job. His past includes working with Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. Of course, he worked with Jimbo Fisher at LSU as well. He comes here, as I said, beloved by his former players and coaches and fans there at Michigan State, but he's produced on the field too, which is what you care about most. And it looks like Florida State has plucked themselves an awfully good defensive coordinator out of the Big Ten, and that has a lot of people excited and somewhat relieved, let's be honest, as this dragged on. People begin to wonder, when Leavitt didn't say yes, who Willie Taggart would tab. Now, the good news is, if you're rational and calm, you know that this is a great job. Florida State is a destination location for coaches all around the country. And the report was that while frustrating at times and incredibly busy, Willie Taggart felt good about the names that had at least emerged either through their agents or back channels that were interested in perhaps interviewing for positions here at Florida State, that even though he didn't get the guy immediately that he wanted, there would be a lot of good candidates in the coffers there that you could reach out to. And it looks like that's certainly the case, because as this staff continued to get put together, you saw a lot of big names, a lot of guys that are very well regarded, either as recruiters or position coaches. Alonzo Hampton joins the staff as well. Of course, Fry, your new offensive line coach, as we talked about. That was exciting last night. Yesterday on the show, we projected that would likely happen. It did. So you've had some hirings in the last 24 to 48 hours now that you feel very good about. Certainly are going to help you as you move forward in recruiting and try to put together a decent class, salvage a decent class. And Florida State's in a good position to do that now. And so we'll sit back and wait, find out what's left to do. There are 3 positions still available. Ron Dugan's name has been featured prominently in reports that that's who Florida State was going to bring in as a wide receivers coach, but not so sure that's going to happen now. That deal hasn't gotten done as of right now. What is it, 5:05 on a Friday? We'll see. We thought maybe it would develop today while we were on the air. Still might. As of right now, though, that hasn't happened, and there is kind of a feel that maybe it won't happen, that Ron Dugans is happy at Miami, and as much as he loves Florida State and would maybe want to come back here, Miami desperately wants to keep him, maybe offering too much money for Florida State to match, so we don't know. We'll wait and see, but I have faith that he'll get somebody good. At this point, again, you've been able to put together the staff with Fry as your offensive line coach, Lockett as your tight ends coach, Pimpleton as your running backs coach, great recruiter too, by the way. Odell stays to remain as a defensive line coach. You bring in Woody as your linebacker coach. Barnett, who I just mentioned, is your basically your defensive coordinator / defensive backs guy. That's his area of expertise. Hampton comes in to do special teams. Still need a wide receiver coach. Still going to need a defensive backs coach, and still going to add that extra assistant, right?
Yeah, well, the question is, when does Willie get a chance to take a breath? It's probably, say, Thursday, the first Thursday in February after National Signing Day is over, because even though we've been waiting and there hasn't seemingly been news on, who the defensive coordinator is going to be, that doesn't mean that Willie's not working the channels and interviewing candidates and lining up what he wants to do with the new coaches that are in here. for his recruiting strategy and mapping out what kids need to be seen when and comparing notes. And do you think we can flip this kid from over here now that you've decided to come from Michigan to Florida State or Michigan State to Florida State? So there's a whole lot to be done. It has not stopped. Since he got on the jet to leave Eugene to come to Tallahassee, it has been nonstop. It will continue to be nonstop until we're done with signing day.
There are 8 new teams in this year's playoff field, and away we go. Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Saints, Panthers in the NFC, Jaguars, Titans, Bills in the AFC. That's tied for the most in a season. Go back to 2003 to see the last time that happened. Since the 12-team playoff format was adopted back in 1990. That's it's rare to get this many teams, but it's exciting, and I think it's certainly good for the NFL. It's something that we're excited to watch play out. Saying that, you got a game tomorrow in Tennessee at Kansas City, 4:35 on ESPN/ABC. In the NFC, it's Atlanta, and the Rams is your night game on NBC, 8:15. That's exciting. Should be a great game. That's a great game, actually. I'm very excited to watch that. By the way, I think Kansas City's going to pound Tennessee. I'll take the Rams to beat the Falcons. And then on Sunday, Buffalo's at Jacksonville. Jacksonville should win that football game. Carolina at New Orleans is a great game. That's kind of up in the air. I'll pick New Orleans, but I could also see that one going another way. Haven't really even bothered to test the sporting angle here. I normally do. You can bet that when I get off the air here tonight at 6, we'll start taking a look at those lines, those numbers, and see what sounds enticing and what doesn't. By the way, I have vanquished my mother. That series is over. I'm up 12. There's 11 to play. That's good news. I'll touch on that again later on. This should be a fun game, fun weekend. Love the NFL playoffs. I actually like Wild Card Weekend.
Usually I do like a game or two in Wild Card Weekend, but you can make a case that even the first one this weekend, that Chiefs and Titans, it may be a battle of checkdowns and good defenses that are keeping everything in front of them.
Yeah,
and so it ends up being a one-score game. I mean, you really could have 4 one-score finishes this weekend. Sometimes a Wild Card Weekend, it's overmatched. 8-8, 9-7 team comes in, and you get a couple of blowouts or just poorly played football games.
This Chiefs-Titans game, you got 2 quarterbacks who they love to throw the ball 5 yards, so yeah.
They do, but Alex Smith did rebound in the final month and a half of the season, getting his yards per attempt were in the 8s.
It got better.
In the 8s.
Got a lot better.
Hey, that's elite right there.
Oh, that's crazy, right?
That is crazy stuff.
I'm going to guess that he reverts back to who he is.
We'll see how they call the game for him. Okay. We'll see how that... I mean, he's had some whopper performances in the playoffs. One in a winning effort, one in a losing effort. We were out in L.A. for one of those. That was the Colts game where they...
we walked into a bar on Sunset Boulevard.
That's correct.
And it was an awful lot of fun.
It was.
It was a beautiful time.
But this has the potential to have at least 2 really well-played games in both the NFC matchups. And then, who knows? I mean, if bad Blake Bortles shows up, then maybe Buffalo and Jacksonville is quite interesting into the fourth quarter.
I don't know how Buffalo's going to score. That's the
but if all you have to get to is 13 to 17 points,
yeah,
I mean,
maybe. I just don't know how Buffalo is going to move the football. That Jacksonville defense is for real, and Tyrod Taylor. So I just Jacksonville, don't lose this game now. You've had too good a year. You've been too good. Don't lose this game. Come on now.
Well, who is the best? Which is the best game of all 4?
Atlanta and the Rams is an exciting game. Probably the best game would be. Well, I'm excited about New Orleans and Carolina, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that has the potential to be the closest game. Although New Orleans has handled Carolina both times the two have faced this season.
Atlanta at the Rams is the game I'm probably most excited about. Atlanta went to the Super Bowl a year ago, infinitely talented, and for whatever reason, they've had their offense bogged down too frequently this year. But they are really talented, and the Rams haven't been here, and I got a lot of young talent. I think they're the better team right now, but they could get overwhelmed.
The Rams would do well to feature Todd Gurley and then let Goff figure it out from there. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like sometimes organizations and teams and coaches can fall in love with a quarterback. See what Chad Henne, when he was in Miami. They had that rolling with Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown, and they decided, well, he's got a great arm. And that completely changed their fortunes when it looked like they were turning the page. You can't let Goff decide this game one way or the other. You have a superstar in Todd Gurley. He's got to get 20 to 25 touches at minimum tomorrow night.
He will. He'll get more than that. They ride him. I won our fantasy league solely because of Todd Gurley, and I will tell you that, listen, I drafted him and thought, well, he'll have a bounce-back year. I could have never guessed this. They give him the ball 100. He's going to be dead. He'll be dead next year. Don't draft him next year. That guy gets either through catching the football or running the football. He touches the ball 35 times a game. It's crazy. I don't think they're suddenly going to forsake that now. Florida State leads the all-time series against Miami, 44 up, 35 down. Hopefully the Noles go on the road this Sunday and get a win. If you're wondering, channel 396 on Comcast
Old
is the game on Sunday. That's correct. Florida State taking on Miami down there in Coral Gables on ESPNU. Again, I said it yesterday. I'll say it again here. I'm a little worried about the game because I think you're going to get an ultra-focused Miami team that's frustrated after a pitiful performance against Georgia Tech. Meanwhile, Florida State, it's human nature. You're going to, at some point, maybe have a lull emotionally when you've had to be way up here against the likes of North Carolina and Duke. So we shall see. Fun team. They play hard. They play smart. They play together. I feel like this is a loss. I've had a good handle on this team in this program the last couple of years. And I hope I'm wrong here. I don't know enough about Miami, given the fact that they beat Pitt 67-53, and Pitt's not any good. And then they lose 64-54 to Georgia Tech. The only other game I've seen of Miami, and even a little bit of that, was in the ACC Big Ten Challenge against Minnesota, and they beat Minnesota. They went on the road to do that. But their out-of-conference schedule, largely like ours, wasn't very good. So I don't have a good feel for them. I saw some of the game the other night against Georgia Tech where they played terribly. I do know this. They don't shoot free throws well. In fact, they're one of the worst in the country. So hopefully they continue to clang from the line and Florida State finds a way to get out of there with a win. That would be huge before coming back here to play, Louisville on Wednesday? Is that what it is?
Louisville Wednesday, 9 p.m.
Yeah, should be fun. The NFL, going to make some changes, going to invest a little bit. That would behoove them. I'll get to that momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the
code 4848.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 4848 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 4848.
Does your basement or crawl space have damp, musty odors? Do you worry about indoor gases and pollutants? Everyday living generates moisture that can nourish mold and odors, even asthmatic triggers. Indoor pollutants linked to respiratory ailments, birth defects, and cancers can become trapped in your home. You can't buy health, but you can buy Wave's moisture control and air quality products. Wave Home Solutions for a dry, healthy home. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to dryhome123.com. That's dryhome123.com.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh, and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
A lot. I was talking about it, I think, last week. Get your opinion on this. It's in line with a story that came out today. The NFL announced this afternoon that they had committed another $16.43 million to support government-funded research on traumatic brain injuries and concussions. You know, they spent a long time denying any link between playing the game of football and brain injury. And the long-term effects and obviously devastating effects of concussions on former players. And then once they finally couldn't get around it and couldn't deny the direct link and couldn't squash or bury the information on the research that had been done, they rightfully, eventually, embraced it and recognized it as something that they're going to have to own up to and figure out. And I always thought it was dumb to put it off for as long as they did, not only because it was dishonest, but because it opened them up to huge billions of dollars worth of lawsuits, but also because if you plan on milking that cow as an NFL owner or commissioner for the next 20 to 30 to 40 years, you need to figure out how the game is still viable 10 years from now. You need to figure out how it's still possible to play the sport that we love and that resembles something of football moving forward, right? I mean, we already have rules changes that lead us to maddening results and most of us questioning the integrity of the game as it is. And that is all, by and large, a direct response to figuring out how to reduce the number of concussions that players are receiving. Now, part of it is an uphill battle because bigger, stronger, faster. Evolution's a pretty amazing thing. And when they were starting to play the game of football, it was always dangerous. But you go back and look at the size and weights of the players in the early days of the game, and it's a far cry from what you see now with sport-specific training and just the natural progression, literally, of people getting bigger. And so now what you have is 6'4", 250 running 4'4", as opposed to 5'11", 190, which is, listen, the potential for injury was always there. It's a violent sport. You can't take that out of the game. Most people accept those risks as being part of the fun of the game. That are you tough enough to handle that kind of abuse and still produce? What you can't have is, again, the devastating long-term effects of brain injury, because that'll end a sport in a hurry. And that will end the run and the money train, if you will, surrounding football if they can't figure that out. So the league needed to find a way to embrace this research, embrace the devastating results of that research to a league that for so long denied it from a public relations standpoint, because the sooner that you embrace that research and say, here's what we know to be true, and here's what's not true, and because we know this set of facts are something we can base rules changes, equipment changes on, we're going to do that to better our sport, further the longevity of our sport, and make it so that we can continue to watch, love, and play a game that so many people don't want to see go away, including, obviously, those who make a lot of money from it. So it's nice to see these stories where they invested. Now, it does represent the remaining dispersal of the original $30 million investment that they were allocating to the Foundation for National Institutes of Health as part of a 5-year agreement dating back. It concluded August 31st, 2017. The funding will be divided amongst the brain studies being conducted by the Department of Defense, Track TBI, which is funded by FNH, and the National Institute of Aging. Part of the problems they've had, I've noticed in the past with the NFL, is that if the results didn't, what is ringing? If the results didn't, do you hear that? It's out there. I just totally threw the show off track and said something that nobody else can hear.
No, somebody's calling on a speakerphone.
Yeah, it's all like, what is that sound? Anyhow, getting back to the problems and the challenges the NFL faces, that so often when the results didn't tell them what they wanted to hear, when they didn't get the desired response, when the studies revealed it's worse than we realized, guys. You know, it's not looking good. When it didn't provide hope for them, when it didn't give them a clear path by which to travel and ensure the longevity of the money trough, they would deny the viability of the study. They would infer that there was a salacious element to it all, that they were being undercut by a nefarious organization that had it out for football. And that didn't help your cause either, guys. That makes you look stupid.
Well, yeah, the liberal media is out to get football, right?
Right.
I know somebody that used to be on 1 to 3 here
Yeah.
would claim that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. It's about transparency. You can still make a decision to play football if you know the risks, but you have to know the risks.
Well, right, and that's what we said about NASCAR. I mean, basically, after Earnhardt died, there was intense studies and monies funded to research better ways to ensure the safeties of drivers. Well, here's the deal. There's only so much you can do. I mean, you're going 200 miles per hour in a car with walls, and you're right next to somebody.
And other cars.
And other
Yeah.
cars.
And drivers who might not be as good as you are.
Right, or just you could get unlucky and hit a little pebble and you get swayward and boom, you're into the wall. And you could put up all kinds of barriers and everything else, you're dead. If you hit it the wrong way, you're dead. But drivers who make it to the pinnacle of their sport knew that all along. They were not unaware of the fact that driving fast is dangerous. That going 150, 170, or 220 miles per hour is dangerous. Just as football players get that any given Sunday or Saturday or whenever it is you're watching a football game, that I could step on this field and it could be my last game. I could get drilled from behind and my knee blows out and I never saw it coming and I never regained my speed. And that's life. That's part of the game.
Or paralysis. I mean,
That's
you want
correct.
to talk about serious injuries.
Sure,
Yeah,
it's all
paralysis could happen.
Nobody I ever played with or against was ever under any illusion about the fact that you could get really hurt playing football. But what you can't do is lie to people about the results of concussions that you can suffer while playing football, that some people did. I was fortunate. I think I only suffered once in my life from a concussion, and I didn't know it. Probably shouldn't have been back out there, but that's what we have to do, right? We got to better inform, and then we have to treat. And that's something that they now can do, is actually treat it like a regular injury. Oh, you got a pulled groin. Well, here's what we'll do for that. Oh, you got a concussion. Here's what we'll do for that. And you can't step back out on the field. That's a big step in the right direction, but you first have to acknowledge that concussions are a real thing and that they lead to long-term problems. And then from there, you cannot then decide, well, I don't like the results of that study. The Institute in Massachusetts that has studied CTE, well, they have it out for us because their results are saying something that is very negative for our game. Well, go to hell with that dumb stuff. I mean, you can't do that. This isn't some, hey, way to go, NFL, because the NFL is just doing what they need to do. You got to do this. Is common sense based. I would throw more money at it. I would throw endless amounts of dollars because long term, I want to keep, if I'm an owner or a player or a coach or whomever, I want to make the money long term. Plus, I love the game. Plus, at its base, I love the game. So,
is that true for all owners, though? I don't know that they all love the game. They probably all love the check they're getting cut every year.
Sure, but
like Robert Kraft and Arthur Blank and Jerry
game,
Jones. Yeah. I mean, you know the guys who love the game because they like to put themselves front and center. But then there are plenty of owners who like winning and like being cut a check in different orders.
Yeah, but the deal is this. The check stops coming if the game goes away, so you don't really even have to love it to want to invest in it. You got to invest in it. It's the thing that's going to make you money, even if you don't care about the sport or the players.
To me, I find it interesting, and I say this a lot about the NFL, that I think the solution to the problem of bigger, stronger, faster is to make the field wider. Most of these places are built for soccer anyway, so you can expand the width of the field. You know, you change the hash marks. I think that's an important change where, again, you create wider lanes so people have to cover more ground. Now, I know it might change scores in the way the game looks.
It's going to change scores big time, yeah.
But guys are still really fast, and quarterbacks can only throw the ball so far. I mean, if you think about it, just flash forward. I know it's really hard to do, but let's say it's 2048. It's 30 years from now. You see how far the NBA's already come to this point in 2018? You got 6'10", 6'11" dudes that play like guards.
The problem is they haven't expanded the court.
What's the court going to look like in 2048?
That has to happen.
It's got to change.
That's the sport where it's most needed.
Well, how about 100-mile-an-hour pitches in baseball?
You gotta move the mound back.
You got to move it down again and then move it back eventually.
Yeah.
60 feet, 6 inches, I get it, tradition, right? Yeah. But we're talking about now we're entering centuries of a sport being played.
Right. Well, it would be interesting to see what 60 feet, 7 inches does. Right?
Just 1 inch?
Just 1 inch.
Yeah.
I actually, when you're talking about these guys and their eye-hand coordination and ability to react,
right.
I think it makes all the difference.
Sure. Or 61 feet, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could move it back 1 inch and you guys would tee off. I mean, you see fewer strikes. I do believe that.
It would be a fascinating experiment. I'm sure they'll try it in the minor leagues. But at some point, because it feels like you're boxed in. The NFL field itself is boxed in. In college, everything feels spread out, doesn't it? It's the same field.
Hash marks are different, yeah.
But it's the same field, yet the game feels like there's so much more ground to cover. Also, the talent level. I mean, again,
it's insane.
You look at an NFL defense against a college defense, even Alabama's, and there is a fundamental difference in size, strength, and speed. So the NFL needs to invest in the programs. You're talking about hand over fist, but they also need to have the bigger discussion of how do we create a wider area so that there aren't these close-quarter, devastating collisions that don't need to happen. Trenches are always going to happen, though. I don't know how you fix that.
Well, you really can't fix that. Again, you just have to be knowledgeable of the risks. By the way, in that conference call today with the NFL's chief medical officer, his name is Alan Sills, said, I'm extremely excited as a physician and as a scientist who has been involved in the area of neurosurgery, brain science, athletic concussions. I'm very excited about the selection of these 3 different areas for funding. The challenge was to find areas of neuroscience research that would be promising and would translate not only to the issues facing our athletes in the game today, but broadly across the board. And I think these 3 areas fulfill that. You get the Department of Defense working with the NCAA and a collection of information on more than 2,000 concussions, over 30,000 enrolled athletes and cadets since 2014. And a total in that group of over $7.5 million in NFL funds going towards that program. They'll do the TBI study, which takes place at 18 different sites around the country. They use the advanced imaging techniques is what that is, while collecting biological information to help brain studies. They'll commit another $2.5 million to the National Institute for Aging, which focuses on the aging process and age-related brain injury. They can probably continue to do more. I have a sense, and again, without being a doctor, without being a physician, and I'd like to hear from one on this, and we can reach out to Scott. But I'm interested that I would guess this number is peanuts. I would think, because they're just now getting around to admitting it's a problem. They're just
it's 2018.
Just what my guess is they're going to end up doing is spending 10 times this.
When was the panel that actually admitted that there was fault? Remember the smoking gun in the case?
Well, right.
Was that the late 90s, early 2000s? I mean, we're talking 15, 20 years later.
Yeah, I think it was even sooner than that. I think it was the mid-90s that they admitted in a private memo that got leaked that they knew they had problems.
Well, yeah, they had this committee that the commissioner had a seat on but would never attend, but there was a seat there. So, in a sense, the commissioner is present. There's a proxy there.
Right.
So the commissioner knows the NFL's, it's a generation later. Think about that.
Sure. And this on the heels of the fact that, again, you just saw something that occurred this year that revealed the NFL's concussion protocol to be lacking even still, which is the Tom Savage hit. How a guy can get back on the field after laying prone with his hand shaking uncontrollably, literally having a seizure after being hit in the head, and they allow him to go back onto the field moments later. The whole instituting of a man up, an eye in the sky, if you will,
right,
and a guy on the sideline doing checking was to prevent that kind of dumbassery.
Well, and these are supposed to be medical experts.
Yeah.
But maybe you should just appoint a czar of common sense. I am the NFL czar of common sense.
I would be that guy.
I will fix injuries and I will fix replay.
Well,
and I will do it yesterday because
it's easy.
I am the czar of common sense.
I would have stood on that sideline and gone, well, that dude's hands are shaking. I don't think he should go back in.
So proclaims the czar of common sense.
That's it. That's all you got to say on that matter? That's it. His hands are shaking, and he's trying to stop them from shaking, and he can't. I think it's a problem. I'm no doctor, But common sense tells me that ain't good. Let's get him off the field. And he can't come back on until we do some studies on this one.
And this crown fits for a czar. And I am the czar of common sense.
And then with the replay, I'd go, hey, my man caught it, took 2 steps, had a knee hit the ground, reached the ball across the goal line. I don't care really what happens after that. He could have stood up. Somebody could have kicked the ball into the upper deck. That's a touchdown.
There should be 46.
Says the czar of common sense.
And there should be 46 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
Don't go back. No,
you don't have nothing to look at.
Get him away from the monitor.
Yeah, we're good here.
46. Look, I've already talked to the PA guy. He doesn't need to look into the camera to talk to the PA guy.
No.
Let's just do it.
Hey, look, again, I want to repeat myself here. If you need me to tell the fans what's going on, I will. Jesse James caught the ball, as you all saw, turned around, took a step, began to get tackled. Nobody touched him. He was lunging. Knee goes to the ground, still all this time with possession. So that's a lot of football moves. I'm going to go ahead and call that a touchdown.
No, Ed, we don't need to hear from you.
No, that's a touchdown, Ed.
You don't need to look into the
I'm calling
television.
it a touchdown. We're done.
You can take it easy on the bench presses.
That's right. We're good here.
Which you do just for this moment.
Extra point time. And, oh, by the way, let's put 46 seconds back on the clock. It may be 47. It may be 45. Ain't nobody got time to be worried about that. I'm going with 46. There we go. All right, let's play. Chop, chop.
And the final thing, I'm going to add tenths of a second to the play clock.
I like that.
Delay a game is stupid.
Yeah.
Is that 0.0 or 0.9?
Yeah, can't know, right? Yeah.
Right.
But now
so
we can.
Does the
Let's
1
put it up
second
there.
exist for 1 to 0.1?
Yeah, I like this common sense we're adding to
Let's
the NFL.
add tenths of second. I mean, come on. The NBA's been doing this for decades.
We're saving the sport right here on the Jeff Cameron Show in a matter of seconds. Really, that's not that lengthy of a segment.
Nebulous delay a game nonsense. We're so precise about everything, but you're not going to go to a tenth of a second?
Well, 2 things you're not precise about. Delay of game and where the hell the ball should be spotted. They're not very precise about that. People get screwed left and right because some old man can't get over there and put his foot down.
The czar of common sense has empowered shot spot technology.
That's right.
To work with the NFL.
Even if my fellow czar, Tom Lang, thinks that's a bunch of fakery, I'm here to tell you it's here to stay. Let's make it happen. All right, there's another rule. We got it. Anything else we want to fix?
Goalpost lasers, just for Jimbo. Give it to Jimbo. It's a parting gift on the way out.
I always thought it was a good idea anyhow.
It's just cool.
It's just not hard. Put the lasers in there.
And they vaporize the ball.
Well, now that's probably going to take some work. I don't think we can
That would be pretty cool.
Vaporizing the football.
It shoots out confetti.
That'd be pretty neat. But it ain't going to happen. Now we've overstepped our bounds. That's not common sense.
That's
not common sense.
That's just fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Maybe we can do that with with those science guys that I like to watch on A&E. Mythbusters.
Yeah, the Mythbusters.
Those dudes are awesome.
So
Did you see the
it
Mythbuster
crosses,
marathon?
No, but
it was awesome.
If it crosses the laser, then the goalpost itself shoots out confetti.
That's cool. You know, something that's going to go away, by the way?
Good.
Hey, this is common sense related. I'm going to become a very unpopular czar of common sense. But I think we all know this is true anyhow. So the 2 questions I get asked is about football, its future, that kind of stuff. And then I always incorporate, when I'm answering that question, what I think football is going to look like in 10 years, 15, 20 years. The first thing I always say is that, you know what you're not going to see? Probably in about 2 years, you know what you're not going to see in the NFL? Cheerleaders. I mean, who are we kidding? There is no good reason.
And you're not paying them like there's a good reason.
They get paid like $5 an hour.
So you've got a PR blunder on your hands at some point.
You've got
already has happened, kind of, but nobody's paid attention to it.
It's a nightmare waiting to happen.
The climate we live in the past 6 months,
that's correct,
especially being the case.
I'm telling you now. Now, fellas, listen, you can't mistake these 2 things. You can't mistake the fact that you like to look at scantily clad women shaking their ass for your entertainment during the timeouts. I agree. I, too, like to look at that.
But that's very 70s and 80s, man.
It's also wildly inappropriate and exploitive. Mm-hmm. There is no way around that. You who love the female figure, and I'm amongst them, something special. I agree. You can say that. You can think that. You can believe that. You can talk about it openly with your girlfriend, your wife, or other women for that matter. It's not offensive at all to say that you think women are beautiful. Great. Good. I do, too. But you also can say that while knowing it's not cool that they have scantily clad chicks dancing about the sidelines for your entertainment and nobody else's, and for no good reason. The players don't get anything out of that. Well, they're not supposed to. And coaches certainly don't. They don't play better. There's not, you're not, boy, it sure is dead without the cheerleaders. I mean, nobody cares about them.
Yeah, the mascot's more useful.
I will say this. They probably won't go away in college, though. because they have male cheerleaders in college.
Right, exactly.
And they're dance teams, and they go around and
Right.
compete and all that nonsense that nobody needs to be watching, but people do.
But
And
they go.
They
And
go.
they do. And it
that's
gets them
legit.
scholarships,
Right.
and that's cool.
And that's legit, right? So that won't go away. We won't take our cheerleaders from the college game because that's a pseudo sport. That's fine. But the NFL, they're only there to be strippers. That's what they are.
Correct.
They're basically strippers.
Yes.
The Bucks lead the way with
Yes.
this. I mean, they do. The Bucks cheerleaders in that category, as inappropriate as it is, number one.
Yeah, they're up there.
They're very talented.
Top 5 every year.
Very good. Very good team.
But the czar of
I
common
gotta tell you,
sense says,
I'm avoiding the lawsuits, guys.
we got to go.
We got to go. Next year will be the last year. We're going to stay it undercover here before, and we're really taking a chance by even allowing one more year. But I'm going to allow for it because I want you all to get one last gander.
I mean, look at the fields back in the 50s and 60s. You know, and look at the trenches and the size of these people, and they
Yeah.
had to cover this field.
Yeah.
And now, transport 60, 70 years later,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're still using this same size field with giants that can run as fast as the fastest person could run in 1962.
Doesn't bother me as much as it does in basketball. They got to do something. You got 6'10" guards. We're done here. It's too crowded on the basketball court. That's crazy. We got to get the basketball court bigger. There's not enough flow.
I mean, but your linebacker in 1955 was named like Skippy McDuffie.
I told you that when I went to ETSU, I went on a visit before I went up there, and I was walking through the halls there in the athletic department, and they have like all athletic departments do. They have all their former great players. And I'm looking up there to see if I know any names, because growing up in Florida, I didn't know any names from ETSU. I knew my man Juan Magara had played there. I knew Thane Gash had played there. I knew a couple guys that had played there, that had made it to the league. But I wanted to see whether anybody I knew. And so the further back you went, you could see guys in black and white photos and all that other stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool history. I'm learning about ETSU history. I looked up there. They had a center at ETSU in like the 60s that went on to the NFL, and I think specifically played for the Cleveland Browns. I'll have to look this up. I could be off there. But I think he played for the Cleveland Browns. And they had him up there. He was like a Pro Bowler. So he's in the Etsu Hall or whatever he is. And I looked at him. He's 6'1", 230. He was the starting center, was a Pro Bowler in the league. At 230.
Exactly.
You got safeties.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Safety.
Yeah.
He's not even that tall as a safety.
Right.
6'1", 230. Well, he's, I don't know. He's not Cam Chancellor.
No, but that's nuts, right?
Right. Exactly.
Come back. Wrap it up momentarily. By the way, for those of you that were waiting for the NFL picks with my mother, she can't compete. Literally, it's over. I mean, I'm up 12. And I think there are 11 games left to play, right? 4 this week, is it? 4 the following week?
Yeah. Yeah, there's 11 playoff games.
There's 11.
4 this week, 4 next week, 2 the following week, 1.
We'll wrap it up momentarily.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the fourth quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink.
I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the fourth quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the fourth quarter bar and grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History. January 5th, 1988. Former NBA great Pete Maravich passed away of a heart attack while playing a pickup basketball game. Considered one of the greatest point guards of all time, Maravich played 10 years in the NBA and led the league in scoring once, while being named to an All-NBA team 5 times. He was 40 years old at the time of his death.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Superlube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You can do this today. Superlube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday. Brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Wrapping it up on this glorious Libations Friday edition of the program. Why did it feel like a long week? That can't be a good sign. Maybe it's the cold. Maybe it's just I was enjoying getting paid for not working.
It felt like a long week to you?
A little bit. Oh, a little bit. Normally it doesn't. Normally when we actually work a full week, the week ends and I go, that week just flew past. Oddly enough, the old 3-day work week this week felt interminable.
Well, maybe it was because you drove back up from Miami one of those days.
Maybe.
Because to me, it was boom.
Just like that?
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking because we hired a defensive coordinator, and that's very exciting, and the fact that we hired one, Harlan Barnett, who had worked for Nick Saban and was on a staff with Jimbo Fisher.
And it played under Bill Belichick.
That's correct. That I thought that was all interesting, and that actually, Tom, you nailed it, led me to the Belichick stuff that we talked about earlier today, but also I had it in my head about Nick Saban, and ESPN Stats and Info had a really interesting nugget for us today. Of course, we know the former assistants that have gone against Nick Saban have not fared well. Jimbo Fisher will get his opportunity now forevermore, year in and year out. He's had the one opportunity, and he failed in that one, going 0-1 against Nick Saban. Jim McElwain was a former assistant with Nick Saban. He went 0-3 in his time at Florida against him. Derek Dooley was a former assistant for him, 0-3 in his time. Mark D'Antonio is 0-2 all-time against Nick Saban, a former assistant of his. Will Muschamp has never beaten Nick Saban. Either is 0-2 currently. So all-time, every one of his former assistants, and now you'll see Kirby Smart, who was also a former assistant of Nick Saban. He'll get his chance. And this one's for a national title. But that's 0-3, 0-6, 0-8, 0-10, 0-11. It compiled 0-11 record for former Saban assistants against Nick. You think Nick brings that up ever? You think that ever, like maybe in a late-night text?
Oh, sure.
I was just sitting here thinking, fellas, well, I got you on the group text. Wanted to see how everybody was doing.
He's at the lake house.
Yeah.
He said,
had a couple of wines.
I have an open invite to any former assistant who can beat me as a head coach to come to my lake house.
Looks like I'm going to be lonely.
I guess I'm just eating with my wife tonight.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, again. Yeah, he could have fun with that all the time. Like, guys, I was sitting out here on the dock watching the sun go down. I thought I'd reach out to my former assistants and see how you and your families are doing. I hope well, because certainly we don't have a lot of football to talk about, given that it's very one-sided. But please inform me on other things, because you can't talk to me about the strategy you used to beat me.
I mean, Jimbo, you did get me that one day in practice for a play. That was nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sabotage the practice there to get it, but you got it.
Yeah. You know, I guess Manti Te'o's girlfriend, Lene Kakua, has as good of a chance of beating me as you guys do. And she's not even real.
0-11. That is something. Damn it, man. That guy is he's pretty tough. Pretty tough. And I was thinking that if Bill Belichick walks away soon and Nick Saban walks away soon, are people celebrating? Or would we all be a little kind of sad? Because here's why. I mean, if you're a Dolphins fan or a Bills fan or a Jets fan, you'd be elated, right? If Bill Belichick finally walks away.
Or a fan of any other team in college football.
Yes, that's right. And in college football, if you're a fan
or
of anybody
in the NFL.
now,
Truly the NFL. But in college football, it's like, well, they're always there.
Yeah.
Now there's another seat at the table. There's another seat.
Yeah. So if they walk away, it took me a long time to figure this out. Because I used to yell at the TV when I heard announcers say it. You hear announcers say things like, well, football's just better when the Steelers are good or the Packers are good or the Cowboys are good. And football's just better if Notre Dame and Miami and Southern Cal or whoever you want to name, Texas, is good. I'd go, no, it's all right. I'm fine with football when Miami's not any good. I'm fine with football if Notre Dame sucks for the next 30 years. It's not going to change my view of football. I'm okay. I don't feel like it's better when they're good either. I'm okay with them sucking. Doesn't make any difference to me. I used to say that. I don't say it as much anymore because I've expanded my love of just the game and the principal players in the game, right? Like, I get why it's fun for people to hate the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree. But as you get older, it's like watching the generations of your life battle each other. It's like, wow, Alabama goes against a new team for somebody that was, Florida State.
Right.
Somebody's old enough to say, boy, this Florida State program is pretty cool, up and coming. Bobby Bowden's got it going on down there.
I'm old enough to have been able to do that. In 1980, I could say that at 10.
Yeah,
at 9.
But you didn't have 30 years of experience watching the college game saying, who's this new program?
Right, couldn't compare and contrast. That's correct, yes.
You'd be like, I don't know, what's the closest thing now? Oregon was there for a couple of years. And
Houston was. TCU
is probably a good one. Yeah.
TCU.
Or this? Do they have something going in Miami? This like new? Is that a new team down there?
No. No. FAU,
they lost
FIU,
3 in a row.
Three in a row. 3 in a row.
No, I think what happens is it's just kind of like you almost want to see the generations of your fanhood clash on a field, even though it's impossible for it to happen.
Sure.
It's your fond memories of yesteryear versus what is cool today, and here they are battling. It's what the tradition's about.
The stat we brought up earlier is that in the NFL, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, based on the article that came out today, and a lot of people were reading that and talking about that. You look at coach-quarterback tandems in the most successful ones of all time, and it's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are the most successful NFL tandem in the history of the game. They've been to 7 Super Bowls and won 5.
In a salary cap era.
It's crazy. They've won 5, right? So that's number one. You can know, just because you know the history of the league, that Terry Bradshaw and Chuck Noll would be next. They were 4 for 4, which is very impressive. Near and dear to my heart is Roger Staubach and Tom Landry. They went to 4, won 2. And then Jim Kelly and Marv Levy never won one, but they went to 4, back to back to back to back. And the thing about that age has helped me. It doesn't do Buffalo Bills fans any good, but I am of the mindset now that I wasn't back then, which is I don't view the back to back to back to back appearances in the Super Bowl and never having won one in a negative light the way I did as a kid. Like, in some ways, when you talk to young people about somebody going 0 for 4, they'll say he's a loser, just doesn't have what it takes. Perspective allows you to see the nuance and understand that that's simply not true. In 3 of those 4 Super Bowls, they weren't the better team. They weren't. And, in fact, you could argue they shouldn't have been there. I mean, they overachieved to some extent. Dallas was going to beat them like a drum there was nothing they could do about it. They weren't the better team. The game against the Giants is the one, the missed field goal, the Norwood. That's the one.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Bills fan, that's probably the one that I'm devastated by. The other three, you weren't going to win those games. You weren't good enough.
It's funny you say that because championships matter so much. They matter more when you're younger than they do when you're older.
Oh, much more.
If you evolve as a fan.
Right.
Maybe you don't, but if you do. And the reason I say that is, of course, they matter. Like the 2013, that's something I'll never, ever forget.
Yeah.
And if Mason had scored there and we didn't come back and we didn't score an answer.
It would still hurt. It would hurt.
It would hurt in a way that would undo a lot of what that regular season was about. But still,
it would completely undo what that season was about. I have to confess, that's one that they could not afford to lose. They were the best team in college football. It wasn't close.
No, but as bad as my undergrad was, I would still have an appreciation for that type of season and taking it where it took us. Like, for example, watching 162 with the Mets and winning a division in 15 and then winning the NL.
And going to the World Series.
You blow 3 games, you lose in 5, and you blow 3 games you had to lead in the 8th inning or later. And that hurts. But that season,
you had a good time.
I still smile when I think about that team and that season.
You know what's interesting about that?
As a kid, I wouldn't have been capable of doing that.
You wouldn't have been capable of. You're right. I will tell you, though, as a fan of the Pirates that won 98 games a few years ago, had the second best record in baseball, and I think, frankly, were the best team in baseball. And if they gotten a chance to play in a series against anybody else, they would have. I think they would have won. They were built to win series. That's why they won 98 games in a great division. They were built to, our 2 versus your 2, our 3 versus your 3. We were better. We lost a one-off. And I don't appreciate the 98-win season. I don't. I appreciate the season before it more. The breaking of the sub-500 streak and the getting to the playoff. I appreciate that more. I can't appreciate the 98-win season because it ended in that kind of bitterness.
Well, I can understand the nuance there in that the expectation is built through a season. And if you have something before it.
Right. Yours kind of came out of nowhere.
Right. It was a rise to prominence out of nowhere. But I'm just saying that as a kid, I guess the point is, if you didn't win a championship, it wasn't successful.
It didn't mean anything. Right.
Man, as I've grown up, I've realized there are seasons where you could win, 80% of your games in college football, or there's a pro team that could win,
the
92 games.
Season last year for the Bucks was a great season that I appreciate.
Yeah.
They had year 2 for Jameis. Win 9 games.
Okay. My hockey team, before they went to the East or the Stanley Cup Finals, the year before they got bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
People got hurt. Bishop got hurt. That was the end of it. But that signaled something to come. And so I look back on that season and I go, that's one of my favorites because it's a return.
You're like, oh, here they come, yeah.
As a kid, I would have said, well, we didn't win the whole damn thing. I can remember the year before we won the Cup in 04. In 03, you make it to the second round, you lose to the Devils in 6. I remember everything about that season. But I remember, it didn't matter. And now I look back and you dumb kid. You just experienced, your team was the laughingstock of the league for 5 to 6 seasons at minimum, probably more.
Right.
And you have a return to prominence. Embrace that 6 months. Those 6 months don't mean anything because you didn't win the championship.
Right.
They mean a lot.
Well, I think going back to what you said, I apply this more to Mike Martin. Okay, there were seasons in which Mike Martin led Florida State to the College World Series. And when they lost, I thought, you blew it. You underachieved. You had a team with J.D. Drew and Jeremy Morris and were clearly the best team in the country. Everything about that. Knowing what I know about baseball being somewhat arbitrary now, maybe I lessen my disappointment in those seasons. Having said that, he has taken teams that had no business going to the College World Series He's overachieved numerous times and taken teams out there that didn't win at all, but shouldn't have been there to begin with. And in those years when they went and lost, I wasn't the guy yelling, oh, freaking Martin, you choked. I went, are you kidding me? The only reason we had a chance to quote-unquote choke was we took a team that was pretty damn average and got them to overachieve to the extent that they made the College World Series. There are 10 teams that are better than them sitting at home watching them play, thinking, what the hell, Florida State's there? They're not any good. There have been years where that happened. So there are different ways to view the final act, the loss. And those seasons is what they represent. The seasons that you go and take a team where you thought maybe they'd be lucky to win 40 games and get to the College World Series, bravo. The teams that are loaded, you got a frontline pitcher, you got a stud number 2, and you're loaded offensively.
Right.
And you fall short, that's a disappointment.
Sure, and maybe I'll revise the stance to say it's not absolute one way or the other.
Right.
But I guess my point is I've learned to enjoy the ride a hell of a lot more than I
Coach
did as
K
a kid.
would be proud of you, buddy.
Oh, no. Not every day in practice. Not all that crap. No, enjoying the wins as they come. You know, instead of saying, well, that's great. Now that's another step to a championship. Always staring at that final thing.
I'm doing that right now with Florida State basketball. I have no illusions that they're going to win a championship. They're not going to win a championship. I don't care. I mean, I do care.
If they got hot in the turn, you know how cool that would be?
Yes, it would be
that's
cool.
a month of just, sitting on the edge of your seat.
That is the one scenario that when you offer it, when you posit it, when you spit it into the air, that I go, that I can't fathom that. I can't wrap my mind around that happening. Any other sport, I can envision Florida State winning the College World Series. In fact, I'm surprised I haven't seen it. I think about it all the time. I think they've got a chance to do it, any given year.
Right.
I can't pick. There's never been a time. I did watch us lose in the Elite Eight, and those teams with Sura and Cassell and them. I remember thinking they could.
Well, what about the VCU loss in the Sweet 16 back in 11?
But I didn't think that team could win a national title. The one that lost that year with those players, they could win a national title.
Well, but okay, let me argue this for this team, and I'm not saying national title. I'm not. But if you can, in back-to-back fashion, go on the road at Cameron Indoor and play a team tough, and then play you. I mean, last year's team, even the way it started, if you can in consecutive games look like that against the top flight. I mean, who's to say that you can't catch fire?
You could.
You're playing 2 games in a weekend.
Yeah,
3 times.
Kind of feel like it's highly unlikely. I don't, because there's going to be a game where you need that guy, and he's going to have to carry you.
Right.
And we're not built that way. We may not be built for the NCAA tournament. We're built to get there. I don't know that we're built necessarily to do well there this year.
We have the toughness for the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's true. We're not going to go away.
When people push you and you push back, you know those teams, and you
go,
who the hell are these freaking guys? That's us this year.
Congratulations to Jon Gruden, who made $100 million today. That is a contract for the ages that will be talked about for a long time.
Well, son of a bitch, I'm rich. Again.
You already were. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be well. We'll talk to you on Monday.